So we're kicking off module 4 here. And so actually, I'm sorry, let me share my screen. I always forget to for the recording. So let me go ahead and share my screen for the announcements. And as always, I'll ping them along in the Zoom chat as well. Just give me 1 sec to get to the chat.
We're kicking off.
All right. So I had the announcements links from the chat for those to follow along. I'm also sharing my screen. Let me blow it up a little bit. So we're in module 4 now. So we're kicking off fundamental programming in JavaScript. So Gus Cost here on the call, he'll give you his full intro and all that good stuff after I'm done with these announcements in the demo day. But he'll be your instructor for the next 2 weeks, weeks 6 and 7. And then Max will be your instructor for weeks 8 and 9. Then in terms of teaching assistants, we'll have Karen being your primary teaching assistant throughout the next 4 weeks for this module. So just a quick rundown of sort of who's will be your instructors and TAs for these coming weeks. A couple of quick announcements, and then we'll get into demo day. First and foremost, our partners at Erie 21, who are ultimately helping to allow this cohort of careers and code possible. They've asked if it's not too much trouble, if you can complete a survey by the end of the week. And I'll pull this up a little more for the stream. But the survey link, I'll send it in the Zoom chat real quick as well. It just asks a couple questions. I'm submitting a survey as well. You just take a quick moment. We have some time to submit that by the end of the week. That'd be very much appreciated. It just helps them to kind of the community and particularly their stakeholders understand what's happening across all the different programs and whatnot. So if you guys can complete that when you're able to. If you have any questions or concerns on the information they're asking, anything on that front, please let me know. But if you can put that survey by the end of the week, that'd be awesome. A couple other quick things. So one is in terms of mentorship. So I've had a couple questions on this. We have launched a mentorship page on our website, which is essentially just a listing of office hour times for all of our instructors and TAs. So I'll actually show it right now really quick if you haven't seen it already. But in the top nav bar, there's a link for mentors. If you click on it, brings you to this page. And so this will be time with instructors, TAs, and we're hoping to get folks from our community on here as well. So if you want to get extra help, set up one-on-one times. If you click on any of these links, it'll bring you to office hours where you can set up one-on-one times with anyone listed here. We don't have too many right now, but we are planning to add more over time. And then, so I would encourage you to use that as kind of the one-stop shop for help with mentors for careers in code. At the same time, for folks that are struggling and or think they're falling behind, this is where you should be going to set up that time. Of course, you're always welcome to send the instructors and TAs a note on Slack or an email. But for folks that have dedicated office hours and office time, this would be the best spot for you to go moving forward. And then one other thing I will mention that this module in particular is when things are really going to start to ramp up. I think I might have mentioned this before, but this module in particular is I think where the training wheels, so to speak, start to come off. So if you have questions, you need extra time, please utilize this resource. Reach out to your instructors, do the office hours, do the one-on-one times, because candidly, this next module in particular starts to really get quite challenging. So just based on our experience in the first cohort, so if you feel like you're falling behind, you need extra help. You just want to kind of see where you're at. Definitely use this resource for mentorship. And then if you have thoughts, feedback, ideas, suggestions on this and how we can do this a little better, please let us know. We are still exploring a couple long-term opportunities with some local organizations that we'll share with you once you have more information on that. But this mentorship page hopefully will help in the short term. A couple of the quick things, and then we'll get into the Capstone demo day here. One thing is that we received some feedback just from students and some instructors. We would recommend that all the students use video as much as they're able to. We fully understand that you can't be in video all the time. Like we get it, things pop up. But one thing is that it has been challenging for instructors in particular and to engage with you all and really kind of see how everyone's doing with the videos turned off. And then in particular for the breakout rooms, just having everyone on video, I think will help to make it a better experience for everyone. So we just encourage if you're able to be on video as much as you can. depending on your level of comfort. But we'd love to see, everyone be on video if possible. If not, totally get it. But we would like to encourage more video participation from everyone. And then finally here, and then I'll open any questions, then I'll dive into the Capstone stuff. I'm going to start setting up every 6-7 weeks or so, just a feedback meeting where you can meet with just me on anything you have at all. Right now, I'm proposing Fridays at 5 p.m. And I'll also like a poll on this later in the week. But just love to hear honest, unfiltered feedback. Just be almost like my dedicated open hours time, if you will. Those feedback surveys that you all submit to us every week are very helpful. This will kind of just be like open time. You can chat with me about anything, so I'll kind of prod your brains on what's really working here, what you're really struggling with, but just having some dedicated time that you can meet with me for anything. So if it's stuff on the program, it's for Capstone, content, anything at all. So I'm going to start hosting those. My first session will be not this Friday, but the next Friday. So I'll add everyone on the calendar invite for that after I get some thoughts and times and dates that might work. But right now I'm starting Fridays at 5, and I look forward to hopefully seeing you there. All right, so before we dive into the Capstone stuff for the demo days, any questions or comments or thoughts or feedback for anything I mentioned for these 4 points in particular? Pause for a minute if anyone has any questions.
Excuse me, this is Latonia. For the hours that you set for yourself, if we have questions, do you want us just to wait until that time, or can we still email you?
Yeah, great question. So my calendar link is also on this mentorship page, so you can grab time with me anytime. That Friday is at 5, TBD. It's just like a dedicated space week over week for everyone. But for the one-on-one times, this link will, if you want to discuss anything out here. So yeah, feel free to grab one-on-one time on my calendar here. Does that answer your question, Tony?
Yes, I think so.
Excellent. Any other questions, folks? All right. So with that, guys, another Capstone Touchpoint demo day today. So one thing I will mention, you're probably wondering why we have 2 touch points in a row, because normally they were scheduled on a bi-weekly basis. So after today, they will be back to normal on the bi-weekly Capstone Touchpoint. But today, just because we fell a little behind, and that's on us on the start. But at the same time, just kind of seeing and letting Gus know where you're at with all your projects and whatnot, and Max and Karen as well. So after today, the bi-weekly demo days and touch points will continue, because I recognize they eat a lot of class time, but hopefully they've been helpful. So after today, the next touch point will be on the 3rd. And I'll ping out again reminders when there are touch points on every Monday, but every 2 weeks from today is when we'll start having those demo days touch points. So just like last time, hopefully folks are kind of familiar with the format now. Just a quick rundown again, I have it all here. Let's talk about your ideas, any progress you had, sort of stand-up style as you've been doing with everyone, just on where you're at. Any updates you have, all that good stuff. So same format, everyone will have 2 minutes to give their updates. I'll have a timer going in the background that'll go off once you're at the 2-minute limit. And then same as last time, after those 2 minutes, we'll have 5 minutes just for any questions, thoughts, feedback, and kind of open session for anything. Again, just like last time, if you have things to demo today, that's certainly where I'd encourage it. So Trello boards, feature lists, wireframe, status and progress. If you have code or pseudocode, anything like that you want to demo, but I certainly encourage you all to start sharing as you're able to with your project. Question to guide you again was last time. And then of course, as always, the peer reviews. So I'll ping this along in the chat in Zoom. So that is the peer review form, just like last time. And then I'll ping along the spreadsheet as well in the Zoom chat. So that spreadsheet does not change. So all the feedback that you received from last Monday as well will be here. I went ahead and added some of my feedback as well at the very bottom here. So the feedback from this peer review will appear at the bottom of the spreadsheet here. So continue to do that for all your peers, please. I think it's been helpful. And if you don't get to it today, try to get to it by the end of the week to provide feedback for everyone. And then order presentations. We go in alphabetical order, just like we did the last time. I'll announce who's on deck, just to get ready to present who's coming next. So, and then last thing, and then I'll hand it over to Brandy. You'll be kicking us off here, Brandy, in just a minute. I'm going to send a quick poll in the Zoom chat just for how folks are feeling overall with the capstones. So 1 being, I think you're behind, 2, feeling like you're on track, and 3, feeling like you're making good progress and that you're ahead of the capstone. Just want to see where everyone's at, how everyone's feeling. So I'll do that after everyone presents here. Any questions before we kick off here with Capstone demo day number 2? All right, perfect. All right, let's go ahead and get kicked off. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Ariel, I believe, unless she was able to attend tonight, I believe she won't be here. No, she's not. So Brandy, you want to go ahead and kick us off here?
So my idea was a directory site for sustainability. The homework assignment for this week, the search page worked twofold for me. I was able to have a mock-up for my capstone. I have a mock-up for my capstone now. So from here on, it's really just taking a step back and going through things section by section, but I'm a little bit further than I expected to be.
Awesome. Anything you want to show off or demo for today, Brandy?
No,
Okay.
Thank you.
That's totally fine. Perfect. All right, thanks, Brandy. All right, up next we have Brielle. We're gonna go ahead and give any updates you have.
The only thing that I've been able to work on in the last week is I started a spreadsheet of all of the parks and museums with the information to filter by a spreadsheet to just start gathering what I'm going to need for my database. But that's what I got done this week.
Perfect. Thanks, Brielle. Awesome. Next up, Carolyn, want to go ahead and get any updates on your end for your capstone?
There. Sometimes it sticks and I don't get unmuted. Yeah, I don't have like a whole lot to show, but it's definitely coming together up here too. Like Brandy, I found that one of the homework assignments was very helpful. I decided to use the project for that assignment, using the homepage for it. So I'm having issues with getting things. When I say format, I mean like where they're supposed to be on the page and how to get them there. You know, I'm still trying to learn that and figure that out. So it doesn't look real great right now, but I kind of have a good beginning on the homepage of my app. So I guess but it's really not a lot to show yet. It's kind of embarrassing because things aren't where they belong and stuff, but we're getting there. And I had a couple other ideas, but I don't want to do scope creep. Components I might want to add. So I'll just kind of put those on the side just in case, but I think just keeping it simple is the best way to go. So far, not too bad. I won't have it ready by tomorrow though, sorry.
No worries, might take a little bit. Awesome, thanks, Carolyn. All right, next up, Corey, you want to go ahead and give an update on your capstone?
Sure. I'm focused on really working with, as I was a teacher in the city of Syracuse School District, I taught 8th grade and I focused for pretty much getting them prepared for high school. And so my capstone, I wanted to dedicate to students to helping them get their homework done with 2 trouble areas in the 8th grade curriculum, possibly 2. Wait a minute, let me slow down. First one would be multiplying, dividing, adding and subtracting fractions. And I wanted students to be able to scan in their homework or type it in and then work through step-by-step module elements or whatever web interfaces to get the homework done, and it goes at a slower pace so that they understood and really help them de-stress or lessen the anxiety with fractions. So that's pretty much the concept. I made some wireframes to really look at structure, but the more we work through these, computer languages, the more I see to help me kind of edit the design of my page.
Awesome. Thanks, Corey. All right. Next up, Dominique, if you want to give any updates you have on your end?
The only updates I really have, I'm gonna share my screen. It's better off. Hold on. So I am looking. Pretty much, I have. I was able to link my pages, and I'm working on the wireframe for the home page. So I've just been playing around with that, but I have narrowed it down to just pretty much want like an informational piece on the different flowers that I use for natural care for everything, just to kind of narrow it down. So when it comes to natural remedies. So this is pretty much what I have so far right now. It's just my first blog page with lavender and my home page. And of course, my product page is the same as that for right now, but I'm going to take this apart and make more blogs is what I'm working on. But pretty much I got to find a wireframe for the main website cover homepage. That's about it. What was that? I can't hear you.
Sorry, I'm talking on mute. Was that the built-in Bootstrap out of curiosity?
Yeah, that was Bootstrap.
Cool. Yeah, looks great. Awesome work.
Thank you.
All right. Next up, Alina, if you want to go ahead and give an update.
So I don't really have much of an update as far as like code-wise goes. I did start doing like some research on what I want to add to my website, and I've been doing like a paper wireframe because I just feel like I am a better person when I write things out before I go ahead and upload it into like the InVision app or something like that. But I did start tracking my habits so I can kind of use my information as like a demo, I guess, if you will. So I did start doing that. I kind of just use this weekend as like a catch-up weekend for everything, just because I know that this module is going to like start kicking really fast. So I just use it as a catch-up week to just like refresh my brain and everything. So I'm going to start working on my wireframe this week.
Awesome. Thanks, Alina. All right, and then one other quick thing too, just for folks that are doing like the paper and pencil wireframes, I think we've mentioned like that's totally fine to do. If you want to make those digitized, through InVision or whatever, it doesn't matter what platform it is. You can even just like take a picture of your paper and pencil wireframe if you want to share it with the rest of the class for feedback. Just a thought, throwing it out there for everyone that has those paper and pencil wireframes.
Okay, I just wanted to add before we move on to the next person, sorry. I actually kind of feel like I'm behind on where I'm supposed to be for as far as my capstone goes. So just any input on like where we should be would be great.
Yeah, thanks, Lena. So I'm going to send the poll after everyone's done. That's kind of why I wanted to go through everyone today. But yeah, so I'll send the poll out and then we can kind of discuss that in the 5 minutes following if that works for everyone. Cool. All right. Awesome. All right, Fabilia, you want to go ahead and give your update?
Oh, sure. Yes, I'm still doing the artist portfolio, and I've kind of fine-tuned it so that instead of selling, I'll be giving people the option to buy. So I want to set up a page for if somebody wants to buy something like a cart, and merely a portfolio. And I'm working on different designs for the wireframe, but nothing major yet. Like Elena, I'm working with pencil and paper and just drawing out different frames. And that's it.
Awesome. Thanks, Fabilia.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, Jahil, if you want to give an update on your capstone. Jahil, you with us?
Yep. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. My fault. I'm trying to unmute. I'm currently driving right now, but can I give you an update like 5 minutes from now? Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank
we can
you.
circle back to Jahil. That's all right. All right. Thanks, Jahil. All right, Karen, you want to go ahead and give your update? Karen, I think you're talking on mute, Karen.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yep.
All right, sorry about that. Yeah, I don't really have much of an update. What I've been pretty much doing is looking at the wireframe part and trying to navigate what I have to go, what has to go in the heading, what has to, where each piece fits. So I have a paper kind of scribbly here too. So that's really about as far as I've gotten in it. And I have Max and Ariel gave me a couple ideals that I wanted to look into, but I really haven't had a chance to get into that yet because of the work. I've been more focused on that.
All right, thanks, Karen.
Yeah.
All right, next up, Kyle, you want to give an update on your capstone?
Sure. So my project is a walking tour, an audio walking tour of Syracuse that's mapped to GPS so people can listen on their phones. That is based on a paper brochure that I had found. I worked on a couple of wireframes this weekend, so I'm just going to share those. Oops. So this would be like the main page if you were at a particular building or site. I have audio controls at the top and like photos that you can flip through that are labeled maybe with the year or just whatever basic information that would be easy to read at a glance. I put a few buttons on there to replay the sound effects that will be hopefully integrated into the audio information that's playing, but I thought people might want to replay those. And then a text of the audio if people wanted to read it or refer to it. And then I made a mock-up of the main page as well, which is kind of probably self-explanatory. That's the title I chose for it is Walkumentary, kind of a play on the word documentary. And I also found a website that I think might be useful. That's like a public domain images, and you can search, different topics. And then there's actually a slider where you can change the year. So you could get like historical photos from a particular decade or something like that. And it has like all kinds of public domain images, old stereoscopes and stuff like that. So I think that'll be fun to play around with. And I read a little bit about the Google locations or the Google Maps API. I was kind of reading a little bit about that, but yeah, I haven't gotten too much into that yet.
Awesome.
That's it.
Awesome. Thanks, Kyle. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
All right. Next up, Latonia, want to go ahead and give your update?
Yes, thank you. I'll just share real quick. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Hold on, I think you're on the wrong screen. So I'll just recap. My idea is to do an e-com site that sells my original content. Can you see my Trello board?
Yes, you can.
Okay, sorry about that. So just to recap that, I want to brand it to my existing small business. And basically what I've been doing is mapping out the essentials and elements that I need. I was able to work out what my front end tech stack will be and most of my back end, although after the feedback I got from Jesse, I think I'm all set on the back end also. And then organizing my decisions, all of my insights gained from the feedback and stuff into my goals and action steps on the board. So at this point, what I want to do is really focus on getting this stuff done. As you can see, I've been trying to plan stuff out for like basically 2 to 3 day intervals to get stuff done. And just really look at my ideas. I'm hoping to go through those on a weekly basis so I can reprioritize and, just kind of go from there. So just a lot of planning in place and, using this Trello board to do that. It's a great resource for that, I think. That's it.
Awesome. Thanks, Latonia. And I just want to point out from Latonia, so I would strongly encourage folks to kind of do the exercise that Latonia did, really fleshing out the different features of the project, when you want to get those things done by, stuff like that. So if you have that in paper and pencil right now, like that's totally fine, but I would encourage you all to try to get that somewhere where you can kind of show like, hey, like here's the progress that I've made on my project week over week, right? So just encourage, and if it's not Trello, you know, you can use something else. You know, if you want to use a whiteboard and you have to do doing done lists, that's fine. With sticky notes, you could even use, but Trello is a really good tool for that. Awesome. Thanks, Antonio. All right, next up, Mel, you want to go ahead and give your update? Actually, don't think I see Mel. Are you on? I don't think I saw him. I don't think we have Mel on.
Oh, I'm able to.
All right, next up, Sarah also is not with us today. So Shaw, if you want to go ahead and give your update.
Hi, everyone. So my idea was to build a website for an existing business in Syracuse. So since this is a website for an existing business, I need to run the wireframe by the company. So I met the CEO of the company and I presented my draft wireframe. So I'm working on that to get their consent or approval. And also the next step would be to work on the fonts and also get their logo on the graphic side. So that's all.
Awesome. Thanks, Shaw.
Welcome.
All right. Next up, Chantina, you want to give an update for your project?
Hey, so after talk, I'm doing the project based on my girls' entrepreneurial things that they are aiming to do. And after talking with them, they still haven't quite figured out which direction they wanted to take things in. So we are going to, that's my daughter in the background, if you can hear her, I'm sorry. She has a Zoom class as well. We are going to, I'm going to just start off with at least the mock-ups and the background works, the frameworks and everything. And then I can always add some stuff in once it comes time to go in a certain direction. I'm also going to task them with sitting with me and going over different websites. So at least I can get an idea of, you know, how they might want it structured, things that they want to have added that I might not have thought about to add in as options, or that way I can really do like an actual flow chart or, you know, something and get started on that.
Awesome. Thanks, Antina. All right. And next up, Susan, if you want to go ahead and give your update.
Okay, yeah. For Gus, my project is basically like a music festival finder. I'm thinking map-based, which is why I don't really have a wire. I did a wireframe last time, but I'm not really sure how I want it to look because I don't know how, I don't know how to do a map yet. So I'm not sure how I should make the page look. And I did talk to a couple people and I've narrowed it down to basically just be a search within New York State because it's overwhelming to get any bigger at this level. And I think Syracuse is too small, sort of trying to find the middle ground. So I think New York State will be it. And I did start some research this weekend to try to find what festivals are. I mean, I know some that exist but are canceled this year, but so I'm trying to gather, I guess, like Brielle, get the database of info that I will need to create that. And so, yeah, I've just used pen and paper. I'd like to use Trello. I looked at it one day and it was a little overwhelming to me. So I don't know. I'm not sure how to go about that, but I do have my ideas and some of it's on paper.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks, Susan. And for folks that do have questions on Trello, you know, let us know if you need help. If there's anything we can do. The example we provided candidly is a little bit overwhelming. But if you do want to have like a workflow, just be as simple as like to do, doing, done. That's great. That's like honestly all we're looking for. We just threw a bunch at you and then whatever you kind of want to use for that, like by all means. So if folks have questions on Trello, I think I mentioned this last Monday, but we use Trello for everything at Hackup, sitting careers and code for planning and organization for stuff. So, you know, we'd be happy to set up time, kind of walk you through how we do it. So anyone at all has questions on Trello, please let us know. Happy to answer them.
Yeah, that would be helpful.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. All right. Thanks, Susan. And Jahil, are you able to give your update now? You done driving?
Yeah. So I'm not able to like show what I have right now, but like I can explain what I got. So I did a couple of wireframes for my navigation of the website, and I was trying to see what software or APIs I'm going to use.
You still with us, Jahil?
Actually, I'm sorry. I'm very close to my house. I can, never mind. It doesn't matter. I just did some wireframes, and I'm also framing out like what engine I'm going to use in order to like prototype this video game for the website.
Awesome.
Yep.
Awesome. Thanks, Jahil. Appreciate it. All right, folks. Thanks everyone for sharing their updates again. You know, again, it's like week over week. Hopefully you'll be able to see like, okay, here's some progress I'm making. Like, what are the wins I can get on my capstone? So like I mentioned at the top, and Alina, to kind of circle back on your question, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again real quick. And then I'll send a little poll out. I'll actually send this in Slack because I think it'll be helpful just for to kind of visualize it there. I'm going to share my screen in 1 second, and then I'll open up for any questions or discussion for the next 5 minutes. But let me go ahead and I'll share my screen, and I'm going to put together a little poll in the Zoom channel, or sorry, the Slack channel, sorry. So let me share my screen really quick here, just based on where we think you should be at, and then how you feel about that. Can everyone see my screen okay? Just a thumbs up, folks. Get perfect. All right. So kind of based on where we're at with the overall curriculum, and as per some of the information on the capstone document, this is where we think you should be at right now. And again, if you're not here, don't freak out. It's okay. But just in terms of staying on pace with the rest of the program, this is where we think folks should be at today. So first, just having your idea, right? It sounds like everyone's basically have this, this box checked. Just having the idea finalized. What am I actually going to make, right? You can certainly still have questions around your scope and like, what am I actually going to make? But just having the idea. So I think everyone's kind of checked this box. I think the next few here, all of these largely in progress right now, I think for the majority of you. But secondly here, just features list. What am I actually building, right? I have this idea, what goes into actually creating it, right? So having that features list started in some capacity, whether it's paper and pencil, a whiteboard, Trello. Like I mentioned, we highly recommend that use of Trello, so you can kind of show it off during your demo days, show it off to the rest of the class, etc. Get feedback on it. So features list started, doesn't have to be complete by any means. Nextly is the wireframes for all your projects. So I think most folks also have those as well. But whether it's the paper and pencil, if you think it's appropriate for a project to do the low and high fidelity, just having something kind of mocked and sketched up for you to actually start to visualize what your project is going to look like. And then starting the HTML and CSS for your project. So starting to write a little bit of code, maybe mocking out some of those pages and so forth. So one thing I would kind of challenge you all to look for that demo day on the 3rd. By the 30th, we recommend having that 2 to 3 page website for your capstone completed, and then ready to demo on that 3rd. So that's what I would all kind of challenge you to do, just for kind of looking forward here. And if that scares you and you're kind of freaking out right now, that's okay. This is where you can start to get get help. And again, these are all kind of just points of guidance, right? The reality is, like, you could cram in your project in like the 18th or 20th week of this program, right? But it's gonna be very challenging to do that. So we're setting all of these kind of goals so that week over week, you kind of have a compass of where we think you should be at in your projects. And we'll do that for each one of these demo days moving forward. So I hope that helps, just for kind of based on what we've done in the curriculum thus far, where you should be that in your capstone. So I'm hoping that that helps folks, just in that assessment. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to queue up this Slack poll right now in Slack. If you're more comfortable submitting this to me anonymously, just ping me on Slack, send me 1, 2, or 3. I think I actually can create an anonymous poll in Slack. So I'm going to send this out shortly. But with that, I would like to open up the floor for any questions, thoughts, feedback on the capstones today. I'm going to go ahead and set a timer. And if anyone has anything they'd like to share, go for it.
Yeah, Jesse, I liked it, how you started class tonight with the resources and helping us catch up on assignments. But I saw you was using a document, and I don't know if I didn't hear you, but is that somewhere in Google Classroom that I could start reviewing it?
Yep, I'm going to go ahead and I'll put this. I actually don't think this is in the classroom right now, and if it's not, I'll put it there right now. I'll send it along in the Slack channel as well.
Oh, it's in the Slack. Okay.
Yeah, I try to send it at the top of class each time. Sometimes I forget. So, so that's in the Slack right now for links, resources, everything I said is in writing.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
So I'd like to make a suggestion to you guys for your capstones in case you're like really freaking out. Try and keep in the back of your mind your minimum viable product. So even if you have this idea, make a list of everything that you want for your idea and say, okay, what's the main thing that I want people to see when I'm done at the end of this program? Make that your number one. Then as you get that done, you can start adding in all the other features that you want to have added in. That might help you get your wireframe out if you don't have one yet, or even add on to it and be like, oh, okay, this is exactly what I want. It's just a suggestion.
Yeah, I have a couple other comments about the capstone. I don't know if I should share them now or like, first of all, really cool stuff, everybody. You got some really good ideas. I would, I agree that like you should be kind of like striving to have regular progress. You definitely do not want to try to do something like this all at once. I mean, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, Jesse, but I would chill out a little bit about getting your code perfect right now, right away. I think it's still a really good idea to try to get your hands on some HTML, CSS, get practice with it, and fully intend maybe to throw out 1 or 2 ideas or 1 or 2 even whole, you know, your 2 to 3 page. It might not be something you end up with. So don't stress too much about getting it perfect. Carolyn, I wouldn't worry about it being, you know, all over the place. Jahil, I wouldn't worry too much about it being having to choose the right stack and everything. That's a classic way to just get kind of paralyzed. So like, don't stress out too much. Just put in, you know, consistent work. I would focus a lot on, you know, the details of your wireframe. If you go to, you know, a shopping cart interaction on another website and you look at, you know, every time you interact with something and the page changes, maybe every time you click even, something different happens. And each of those little stages is going to be something you might want to consider when you're building your final thing. So really fleshing out your wireframe, definitely getting some practice with your, you know, with a small site to start. And then, you know, gathering images, like if, I forget who was it. Kyle, did you have the historic pictures and audio tour? Finding those resources, you know, whatever pictures you're doing for a portfolio, gathering that stuff, it's all going to be work you have to do. And it's going to be easier to do it, that stuff correctly right off the bat than some of the code, which we are still learning, which is going to take a while to get the hang of. So don't stress too much about the code, but definitely be putting in regular time. Yeah. That's my opinion. Yeah.
I absolutely agree with what Gut just said. And I think that instructors have mentioned it before, but, you know, don't sweat it being perfect either, right? Like just get something over the fence so that people can kind of chew on it, right? Like it's not meant to be perfect by any means, right? So the more you can do just like to celebrate those wins week over week, and like the more you'll start to walk away with like, oh wow, like I'm actually like making something I can like see, right? So the more you can do that, I think the more success that you'll have with your capstones as well.
Yeah, and Susan, if Trello doesn't work for you, find something that does. I didn't use Trello when I was in the first cohort. I made lists. I'm a list person. I had to make a list of everything that I was going to do, and then I just crossed them out, checked them off, did whatever. Because I was the same way. I'm like, I can't do Trello.
I use Paper a lot.
It's like you spend all this time mastering the thing that's supposed to help you when all you need is a Post-it on your dog, a joke that I posted. I just took a picture of the wireframe that I did of the main page I made last week, and I didn't do it in any fancy software to make it look pretty. So I can go ahead and post that on Slack, or I can like screen share from my phone. I don't think it can be, you can read it. I can.
Put it in the cohort channel in Slack. I mean,
yeah, I just,
yeah.
So you
Okay,
see,
yeah,
I mean, and I guess you don't know, I'm doing a mental health app for people that are dealing with depression and anxiety. Not people in crisis. It's not therapy or anything like that. It's just having a way, it's wellness in your pocket, or I haven't picked up the name quite yet, but just something they can have handy. They can do some journaling, they can do gratitude stuff, they can, so that's what I'm doing. I forgot that you weren't.
I would say if you get stuck with the code, work on the content, because the content is going to count too.
I know exactly what I want in there.
Yeah, you're going to have time to do the code, and you're still going to have to spend time on the content and the design and everything. So you can easily say you're going to front load that if you're stuck with some code problem, and then come to people for help. Schedule some time, get some help.
Definitely.
We
I'm
can
a
help
little
with the
early
code.
for that yet, but yep.
I would
definitely.
we can help with the code a lot, but we're not going to be out there, finding all your pictures for you and getting all your
Or
content.
understanding the thing too that I'm finding, like with the homework assignments over the weekend and such, is that like you've got 12 cards for products. I just can't get them to go like they're supposed to, and I'm looking at code, and I'm bringing code from Bootstrap, and it's still, so I'm playing and learning, but at some point I'm going to have to say, Uncle.
Whenever you're ready, it's it's great to struggle with it, but it's fine to tap out and say I need some help.
Yeah, if it's not beneficial, if you're actually getting somewhere, that's one thing. But definitely, I mean, I'm definitely open to any help I can get on this. But it's going okay, and it's fun. And I just want to say, I'm very impressed with everybody. I mean, whatever stage we are each at in our project, the ideas and stuff.
Very cool. Oh,
awesome.
Yeah, it's just this group of people is just amazing. So anyway, just want to say
awesome. So I got a flashback on my capstone. Can I jump in there? And I did create a layout weeks ago, and I forgot about it for today. If I share my screen, this is the, oh man, how do I?
While you're setting that up, Susan, I remembered one other thing. The map. Wireframe, it's not really to get it to look exactly like you need it to look. It's really more about the functionality. So you could literally, your map could be like a square for North America and another square for Europe, and who cares? Like, it's not going to matter really what it looks like at this level. You really just want the functional pieces. So a button here that does this when you click on it. It changes this to a different layout. It doesn't really matter if it's the final polished look of it. When you there's plenty to explore with the functionality, like just bare bones, like what does this transition to? So the map could be anything, squiggle, anyway, sorry. Corey, I'm gonna need to learn everybody's name by memory because I had to look at your name.
So when we first was trying to I put this down on paper. This was kind of my layout of where I wanted. The theme of it is to break it down, really help students, break down the steps of necessary for adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing fractions. The first slide I want, just welcome and kind of what we're about, like the typical about us first. And then the second, I should say first page number one represents the first page of the website. Welcome, intro, and give them an opportunity to scan in their homework, which it was about fractions. And then two was to create kind of an academic assignment review center, like the concepts. How do you add fractions? Give them the rules, just pretty much like on Videos and Khan Academy, resources. So I sketched this stuff out, and I was learning about that each one of them is going to eventually need a database behind the scenes to hold on to the info. And then
Corey, can I interrupt you? I think
Yeah.
you probably are going to want one database max, but data behind each. A database is like a lot of data, and don't worry too much about the details, because there will be a
Perfect.
module. There will be a module on that later. Yeah.
Good, because I think it was introduced to us, and I didn't. You saw I popped them everywhere.
Yeah,
I didn't know.
There's data everywhere. There's data, hopefully all in one database, or else you're going to have a lot of work managing all those.
Good,
databases.
good
Yeah.
catch. Thank you. Good. So again, each number represents a web page, getting the concept fully out. Ultimately, I want the kid to scan their homework for fractions, and then kind of like clouds of thought for step one, step two of multiplying fractions until they get to their solution. So that's really it in a nutshell. And I started this. I said, oh man, I did work on a layout to try to show the 6 pages to getting them to their learning outcome. And I wanted a last part of it to really let each student that used the website, do some affinity statements to say, yes, I do feel stronger, or no, I don't feel stronger in multiplying fractions. So that was my first go at us trying to organize the concept in a PowerPoint layout. So I just wanted to show that. Yeah.
Thanks, Corey. I don't mean to cut you off, Corey, but I just want to make sure we get on track for classes. But thank you for sharing, Corey. And then if you want additional feedback, feel free to ping along on the Slack channel. All right, so before I hand it over to Gus, just 2 quick things. One is that poll is now sent out in the Slack channel. It's all anonymous, so I see 3 folks have already answered the poll. So feel free to answer that when you have an opportunity. That'll help us, kind of assess where everyone's at as well. And then if we need to, do something else to help support you all. And then secondly, just the conversation around project management. I pinned this along in the chat just to make sure I kind of hammer this home. Like, we're indifferent. Like, honestly, we don't care what you use to manage your project, but we just want you to do it in some capacity, right? So like, I love Trello, so like I'm sharing my experiences based on that. But like, if you like paper and pencil, if you like whiteboards, doesn't matter to us, as long as like you're getting the work done that's comes with your capstone. Only thing I would ask is trying to provide some level of visibility to share with the rest of the class, right? So if you're doing paper and pencil, like take a picture of it and then share your screen to share with the class or put in the Slack. If you're doing a whiteboard, like take a picture of your whiteboard and share with the class. That's all that we ask. Just to help, provide visibility for everyone else and, say, hey, cool, like that whiteboard system is actually really cool. Maybe I can try that. And that helps us a lot as well, kind of figure out where everyone's at in their project. So just want to share that as well and kind of hammer that home. But yeah, if anyone wants to talk more about Trello and if they're using it or if they want to learn how to use it, hit me up and schedule some one-on-one time. I'd be happy to kind of walk you through that a bit more. But with that, yeah, sorry.
Can I just add a quick note? So I actually like doing lists and stuff by hand too. So what I've been doing is, because I keep journals that are specific for business and stuff, I've been adding those into the board. And what I like is that it says you can actually share that with like an employer or who have you. So I just wanted to toss that out. Like, it doesn't have to be one or the other. You can do a mixed bag.
Yeah, and that's perhaps the most important part that you just mentioned, LaTonya, is now, hey, I just made this capstone project. Here's how I plan the work, right? And that gives you a lot of leverage, just overall with employers. Say, look, not only do I know how to actually code this thing right, I managed it myself too. Like, here's how I did it. And whatever that system is, if you can share that with employers, and just for context, like we asked our employers, like, what do we teach for careers in code, right? what do you want to see our students ultimately do? And across the board, it was a capstone project. So that's why we're kind of having you all go through this. So the more that you can do to hammer home that work on your capstone, the better position you'll be to actually get a job with these local employers. So just want to plant that a little bit too. That's why we're asking for all this. But all right, everyone. Well, with that, Gus, I'm going to hand it over to you. And thanks, everyone. Really awesome work again for the capstones. And again, we'll start with our biweekly recurrence for these. But I'm going to go ahead and drop. Anyone has any questions on anything at all, please don't hesitate to hit me up.
Okay.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, so I just got back home, and I think since I'm back or whatever, I can show my wireframe or whatever. I can articulate my capstone even better now. At first it was like kind of scrambled what I had, but like, can I share my screen, or I'll make sure like it'll be like really quick.
Yeah, that's fine, Jahil. Yep, you go ahead quick.
Okay, here we go. So cool. This is the flow chart that I made or whatever. So like each, like, I guess red text represents a page that's to the left of this, I guess, InVision. So, you know, like Kahoot, you start like at the basic web page or whatever. But for this, I want the user to like be in the main page where it just says Grammar Goblins or whatever. And you get a choice, either host or join. And typically you're supposed to like host first or whatever, hit the submit button. And if the players are like more than one, you can actually start the game. And then when you do that, you kind of like jumpstart the other client, because they're supposed to be waiting in a lobby. And I was thinking like how there's like IO sockets where they copy and paste like links where it comes to like links to like join a server. I was thinking the same thing. Like once you host, it's going to create a little server link or whatever for the joining thing. And then if the code lobby code is valid, if you're in the joining section, you put your name in, you enter your name, and if it's true, you jump to the client lobby. And these are like web pages. Once again, this is the wireframe. So this is the main page or whatever, Grammar Goblins. I'm working on the graphics right now and also the music, but these are going to be like 2 buttons or something like that. And you got join and you got host. I'm thinking like when you hover on it, it plays a sound and a little animation like happens inside of the div box or whatever, using probably a WebKit or I don't know, background image. I'm not entirely sure yet. So if you're going to do the joining process, this is the screen for the join screen, number 1. And then if, once again, the lobby code is valid, you go to this webpage, and this is where you're going to stay at until the person who is hosting finally hit start. When they see like the player's name, they can like check them off, just like Kahoot, get rid of their name if it's inappropriate. I'm not going to program a I don't know, like a auto detection for like inappropriate names yet, because I don't think no one's going to do that for the most part. That's going to be probably later on, but I'm trying to like downscale a lot of things anyways. But once they hit submit, it's going to jump to them to a display screen. So like this is a screen that you typically display when you are playing like Kahoot or whatever. You get to see the goblins, you get to see the health, and these are the players. You probably get to see like icons on top or whatever to see like who's in first or whatever, whose turn it is. And their text bubble speeches will like go probably by sequence. So like this one will go first, second, third, and the middle one is the one that you would probably want to attack or something like that. So it's going to stay up for the display screen, and there's a timer up top. But the controller screen, so the people that are in this lobby, it jumps over here, and this is what they see. So like you can select a goblin where the text is, and there's a timer, the same timer that you'll see up here. Because I realized like in Kahoot, all you see is like 4 buttons where it's like, those are your options. And you probably, if you don't have access to the screen, you won't know if you can answer something or not. So like for this one, I'm thinking like, maybe the people who are using a controller can like see the screen down here. It's going to be kind of redundant, but this is just more visually appealing. And the host has a little bit more, I guess, control over what's happening with the content. And you get to see the other players, and I was thinking maybe like if you touch the goblin speech bubble right here, you get to see like the problem or whatever. Like I was thinking that either can drag and drop like words or the actual grammar corrections in, or you type, or you just like text or type it in using your device and so on. But yeah, that's pretty much what I have for wireframes. And I kind of worked on like programming some of the web pages for navigation purposes. Not some of the layouts are still a work in progress, but that's pretty much it.
Thanks, Gio. Yeah, sorry you're at time too. Awesome. That was great, Gio. Thank you for sharing. Sorry that timer is so annoying. All right, Gus, hand it over to you. Thanks again, everyone. If you have any questions, anything, please don't hesitate to reach out. Take care, everyone.
Thanks, Jesse. Is Shahil, are you still here?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Yeah, my feedback is very similar. Like, I mean, this, first of all, super cool. And second of all, I wouldn't get too bogged down in the specifics of, you know, how you're going to do the socket. It depends on the actual dynamics of the game, and we can talk about this, but the wireframes and the fact that you're planning out not only the high level kind of like different screens, but also some of the details of each of those screens is really, that's great. So good job. Okay. Yeah, I think everybody should feel pretty good about their capstone as long as you are thinking about it regularly, putting in some regular time. Doesn't have to be on code. It would be cool to have a page. It'll be good practice, but that's as far as that goes. You know, I think don't stress about it, and don't try to make it a perfect thing. Employers aren't going to care. As somebody who hires the programmers, sometimes employers are not going to care if it's perfect. They're going to care that it does something cool and that you are able to pull it all together and do all the parts you needed to do yourself. They're not going to care whether it looks great or whatever. So don't try to make it perfect. Make it cool. Make it do one cool thing. That's good enough, you know, and have, you know, the full documentation and be able to demonstrate that you know how all of it works, and you're good. Cool. So,
can I share one thing, Gus?
Of course.
Real quick. So when I was in the cohort, one of our requirements that you guys don't have was to write a blog. If you guys can find the time, I actually recommend it, because my employer actually read my blog and how I went through the program and the struggles that I did and struggles that I overcame. So it was actually something that we were able to discuss and talk about in my interview during the process. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. I think I had like once a month. I had one entry once a month, but it was enough that it prompted him to ask me about it. So it might be an extra help, and it might help you also get through your actual journey of, you know, getting out your capstone and thinking, oh my gosh, maybe I don't want to do that. Let me change it.
Yeah, it'll help you think about it too. Yeah, yourself. Cool. All right, I'm gonna kick it off and start the class. This first section, this is like, I really, really want to make sure everybody listens to and hears this first bit that I'm gonna get into. If there's one thing you pay attention to for this whole 2 weeks, please make it be this. I don't want to be like camera police, but I'd like to get, at least from Karen and Jahil, anybody not on camera, like a thumbs up or like a, you're here and you're paying attention just for this first part, please. Thumbs up. Who's presenting? Karen, you don't have to present, but you're here, that's good.
I was trying to give you a thumbs up, that's all.
Okay.
I hit the wrong button.
Sounds good. Well, I'm gonna take over the screen share, and thank you though. Good. Oh no, I can't even share my screen until I fix Zoom. Oh, this is, what a train wreck. I'm sorry, folks. We'll have enough time, but you gotta bear with me. Watch, I gotta restart. I'll be right back. I'm so sorry. Karen, you're in charge. Bye.
He won't take long.
So what's up, everyone? I'm like looking out the window because my neighbor's dog is running down the street.
That's okay. I actually need to fix like my camera or my monitor or something. Because I have like 3 going on and I need to get it so that I'm not looking to the side all the time. And
Gus is back. Oh, Gus, are you back as yourself?
I really, yeah. I mean, I didn't even want to spend the time to log in. I hope it's still streaming on YouTube. Karen, would you mind checking?
It says it's still recording.
It's still recording.
Okay, cool.
And live on YouTube.
Yeah.
That should be good enough then. I don't have to be the host for this part, I think. Does everyone still have captions too? Who needs them? A live transcript? You can see it?
Yeah, those are on.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Sorry about that. Let's get going here. Okay. Here is my screen. Let me move this little bar. I don't know if you can even see this thing, but okay, let's get right to it. Everyone's still
Gus, before you start, do you mind dropping the link to your slides in the chat?
Yes, I sent it to Karen and
Yep, I'm getting there. Ariel said that it is on YouTube and that it is, the captions are on.
okay. And the link to the slides,
So,
it should work for everybody.
Yep, they're working. I got, wait, we need
And I'm going to put it
access.
in Slack as well.
Okay. Yes, thanks for that reminder. And hopefully everyone's still with me. And I'm gonna get started.
The slides say access denied.
Oh boy. All right, hang on. I will make them public or something. Let's see, share. See, isn't this nice to see that you're not the only people who have trouble with computers, right? This is me 15 years into my career as a computer expert. Okay, change to anyone with the link. Here we go. This should work. Try it again, please.
Yes, it's working.
Yay. Okay, I'm gonna get started then. Today we're not gonna, it's not gonna get very intense today, and that is on purpose. Hi, I'm Gus. My full name is Augustine, but you can call me Gus. I live in Syracuse in Strathmore in the Southwest side, and I work at Density, which is a company downtown. At least one other instructor this time is also Density. And I do a lot of JavaScript. I do a lot of TypeScript, which is a variant. Let's not even get into that now, but it's a kind of JavaScript. And I do a lot of Python. I do databases, all kinds of stuff. So this week we're going to be doing the first foray into what is called fundamental programming in JavaScript. So this is like programming. It's a different kind of programming. We'll get into that. Before that though, I just want to check, like, other than your capstone, how's everyone, how's the class work? How's everyone had, experience with the class? Are you overwhelmed yet? How are you feeling? Good, generally, still?
Somewhere not totally overwhelmed, but somewhere approaching it, because I feel like all the material we've covered hasn't totally gelled in my brain, and I need like 2 weeks to do it.
That's normal. Okay, pretty good so far. That's good. If anyone else wants to share in the chat, please do. I'm very interested to hear, how your experience is. And I'm not surprised by people not saying, hooray, it's fantastic. Like this is hard stuff. And I think struggling is fine, normal. And yep. This is the Brandy. This is where it gets a little harder. So the bad news, it's about to get harder. Jesse just said this. We are at something of an inflection point here because we are starting on our JavaScript programming. We're not going to see any website result. We're not going to see some kind of magic web page appear in front of you for a while. We're going to be working with little text on the screen for a while. There's going to be some math and some logic. I know people are going to be like, oh no, I can't do math. You can do it. The computer can do it for you. You're going to have to start thinking with some logical concepts, but everyone can do it. It's just going to be some work. The biggest thing that I think is like that's really the bad news, sorry to start with this, is that a lot of the later concepts, once we get farther along in JavaScript, are going to be starting to depend on the earlier ones. So when, you know, in the last couple of weeks, we've had, oh, Jahil, time management. Yep, that is always going to be difficult. Overwhelmed, happy to be using Bootstrap, cool. Mixed bag in general, cool. Yeah, the stuff we learn this week is going to build the stuff to the stuff we learn next week. A lot of the stuff we learn next week is going to be used for the following weeks. There's not going to be a whole lot of, okay, we're going to focus on this topic and you didn't get it so well, and then another topic which is unrelated or completely kind of independent. We're going to be needing to use the earlier concepts a whole lot as we progress. So my plea as an instructor is please start making your best effort to not fall behind the material. I know everybody's working really hard, and we just need you to keep that up. Please, if you feel like you're slipping, reach out to a teacher or a TA anytime on Slack, outside of class. That's fine. We really, really want you to do it. We are hoping that you will do it. Please come to office hours if you just want to ask some questions, and just say hi. Please keep an eye on your mental wellness. This is going to be difficult, like I said, and it's normal to have trouble with it. And one of the best things you can do about it is not just be smarter or, you know, get good at programming. It's actually be able to apply yourself and have a consistent effort that you put in. And the way that you can do that is by just making sure that you stay grounded, you stay healthy, mentally, you have a good attitude about it, and you fight any kind of feeling of being overwhelmed. One of the nicest tactics I have for doing that immediately, let's do it right now. It's called circular breathing. If you can do this, if you have, if you're able to do breathing in this way, I very much encourage it. You do 4 seconds of inhaling, hold your breath for 4 seconds, exhale for 4 seconds, and wait for 4 seconds before inhaling again. So let's just do that for a minute, because this is going to be something I think we should do from time to time. If you're freaked out, this is a nice way to just quickly calm yourself down. So I'm just going to say, let's do that for a minute right now. I need to catch my breath because I'm talking a lot. So I'm going to do it. All right, go. Okay. Anyway, you get the idea. It helps. It helps me. I'm calmer now. I'm pretty nervous because it's like my first class. I don't know what I'm getting into yet. I don't know where everybody is. And pausing to do this is, I don't know how everyone feels, but it actually does, for me, it makes a difference to my attitude immediately. And my just general, like I'm calm, it calms you down. It helps me, so it might help you. Another thing to do though is take breaks. Take 15-minute breaks, go outside if you can, get away from the screen if you can, walk around in a circle, that's fine. Gaze off into the distance, that's fine. there is a whole lot of material here that is just going to it will saturate to a point where you have trouble just stuffing another thing in, and you're gonna just lose track of it if you go too hard at it. So I mean, today I'm trying to, like, we're not gonna go too hard on any material. We're gonna have a little fun programming today, but I think understanding to take breaks, we're gonna try to take breaks throughout the class and just kind of like have a nice pace, because you're gonna learn better. You're going to do better work if you're not working from such a high stress place. And this will be true forever, by the way. This is not like because you're a beginner, this is for everybody. The last thing is, like, if you reach a limit of what you can do in a certain day, you're going to have an energy budget that runs out. And eventually, if you find yourself just grinding into the night, you're going to have actually a better outcome if you just give up for a while, get some sleep, and spend some time the next day on it. And this is another reason why we're really trying to encourage people not to try to cram all of their capstone stuff into the last week or so, is because you won't even need to spend as much time on it overall if you spread it out more, because you will have more of that energy. You won't be, at your limit of energy. You won't be running out of energy. So yeah, those are my tips. If anybody else wants to share any, please do in the chat or wherever. And this is I feel it's important to start with this because we are embarking on something very difficult here. Here's the thing though, all of you have the ability to acquire a valuable skill. Programming, you have the ability to do this. You've already seen the results. You can type something in, you get a result. Most programmers in the real world, most working programmers, I don't want to say most of the people I work with because they might be offended, but probably they're not brilliant genius hackers. They're not all this kind of special kind of person who's different from the rest. There are people like that, sure. But most people in the industry are not that kind of person. They're normal people. The employers and a job, if I'm hiring somebody, I want somebody with the functional skills, the ability to do the basic work, of course, but almost more than that. I mean, just as much as that. I want somebody who has a good work ethic, who's going to apply themselves to doing an honest effort. And you want someone who's kind, who's good to get along with, who's not going to bully people or be unkind to them. So those count just as much. And I would not even worry that much that you're not going to have the functional skills, because you can do that. And if you can put all that together, you can get a great job in the workplace. And as you're developing your functional skills, and really as you're developing anything you want to do, the consistency that you put into it is going to count for a lot more than just the raw energy or any talent that you had to start out with. You can't be a great programmer or a great anything unless you're willing to put in a consistent amount of energy over a long time. It's going to take time. You need to do it consistently. You want to learn and grow a little every day if possible, but you can skip days. And this never ends. This is not like you graduate and now you're done and you don't have to do it anymore. This will never end. This is something that is just good to get into a habit of. Consistency, a little bit, and it adds up quite a bit. So this is like my motivational speech. This is what I'm starting off with because, like I said, this is going to get hard. You gotta get to the next slide. Here's the thing. You might feel like all that stuff was motivational BS at some point. You may say, oh, okay, you're just trying to get people pumped up and, this doesn't apply to me. Like you probably will have that feeling to one degree or another at some point. Some concepts that we're going to go over are going to be very difficult to understand. Most likely, some of them will take you a long time. You might not understand them for weeks or more. Here and later at a job, you will see people who seem to know what they're doing, they seem to be successful, and you're going to feel like an imposter. You're going to feel like, oh, I don't belong here. You know, these people are programmers. I'm not. I don't belong here. That's called imposter syndrome. There's a name for it because it's so common. Unfortunately, for some of you, it's probably even harder if you don't look like your colleagues, many of your colleagues, or you have the same background. I'm just going to come out and say it. A lot of programmers are white men, and you know that's just how some workplaces are. And it's going to be even harder maybe if you don't look the same. But like, just keep in mind that even so, that feeling still affects everybody. It's to a more greater or lesser degree, everybody feels that same way. You are no more imposter than anybody else that you see who appears to belong. We are all basically imposters. Most people don't really know what they're doing. They don't do a perfect job, and they make mistakes most of the time. That's what my job is like. That's what it always is like. And if you can believe that, it's true. I mean, if you can trust me, if you can believe it, it'll be easier because you won't feel like, you know, you don't belong, because that's just, you know, that's a normal feeling and it's deceptive and it's not true. So that's the, oh, this is where I was going to break for some circular breathing. I need to catch my breath. I need to work out my lungs a little because I don't normally talk this long, but this is, if you want to do some more circular breathing, yeah, anyway, this is, how does everybody feel about this? Does this make sense? Do you believe this?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, from personal experience, yes.
Yes. I like your honesty and how
Yes.
direct you are.
Thank
yeah. Yeah. And you're talking about the real world. And these are things that people think about a lot. And you really started this week out with a bang. And I like that. That's motivating.
It's
Thank you.
really important because, yeah, I'm here and I'm very fortunate to be here. But when the train goes off the rails in that regard, it's not pretty. So if we can keep our train on the track with these different techniques like the breathing and such, it really helps tremendously.
Yeah, and
I know this, so thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I know from firsthand experience, you know, that your state of mind matters a lot, and it is something that will be difficult. None of this is going to be like, oh, now that you know the breathing technique, it's easy. Like, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that, you know, you need these things as like to you will probably appreciate having these tactics because it's going to be hard, and you know, it's something that you have to spend time at consistently. And again, I mean, I'm just going to sound like a broken record, but keeping yourself consistent is really the secret to this. It's patience, consistency, and the tactics to let you do that. That's all. Okay, so hopefully everyone has a chance to breathe. I got a little, anyone else want to talk so I can take another breath? No, we're good. Let's spend some time on programming now. And here, I'll go back to the presentation. Let's get right into it. Let's do a little fun thing today. Don't worry too much about if this doesn't make any sense, because we're just kind of trying to get our feet wet. I'm just going to show you some cool stuff. Some of it might make sense, just, you know, just because you'll figure it out, but you shouldn't be expected to, because we're not going to be really going over the exact, this is not a textbook exhaustive thing. So yeah, we're just going to have some fun today, and I'm going to give you a taste of what this kind of real programming is. Now, what does that mean? What have you been doing with HTML and CSS and everything? Isn't that also kind of programming? Well, it is, but it's different than JavaScript in a very important way. And that is that JavaScript is what's called imperative programming, basically. Now, there are different, you know, there are nuances to this, but JavaScript is a different pattern of getting the computer to do what you want it to do. It's a whole different way of thinking about it. What does imperative mean, basically? HTML, CSS, that kind of stuff, it's a declarative style. And specifically, HTML is declarative markup. That's sort of what the HTML language is, if you wanted to say what kind of language is it. It's not really a programming language actually at all, because it's not what's called Turing complete. We don't need to get into that. But it's a declarative markup language. And what you're doing when you write HTML is you're basically saying something like, I would like a button to be right here. I would like a form to be right here. I would like this section to have two sections inside of it and them to have the content I'm describing here. What you're doing in a general sense is that you're telling the computer what you want to see. You're just directly telling the computer button, form, thing. And the computer is figuring out all of the things internally that it has to do to make that happen. You don't have to tell it, you know, take a little computer space and reserve it over here because we're going to need to put some text data into it. And we'll get into that a little later. But you're not really telling the computer exactly what to do. Imperative style, you are telling the computer the things that it should do in order. And JavaScript is still a higher level language than some. If you get really low level, you're telling the computer like exactly what to do with its chip. Or, you know, JavaScript isn't even that low level. You're saying, you know, add these two numbers, or I mean, many other things, but you are still telling the computer what it should be doing exactly, not just what you want the end result to be. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yes.
Okay.
I followed you.
Karen, call out any chats or anything, please, that are, I'm just going to keep going, I guess. Declarative programming, it's kind of like doing spells from a spell book. So you say, I want button spell, zoop, you get a button, right? I want this other thing, spell for this other thing, you get it. It's good because it's quick. You can say boom, 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 and get the things you want. But you need to have the right spells for each thing you're trying to do. You can't really just construct on your own something that is sort of like a button, but not really, but has some other things. And you have to use the existing spells that are provided for you. Imperative programming is a lot more like cooking. It's more of like a science than it is sort of like a magic spell, or just like a, you know, I don't know what you call the. What I'm saying is that when you're doing imperative programming, you are working in order. You're saying first do this, then do this, then do this, then do this. And just like when you're cooking, you have this set of tools and you can make all kinds of different things with them. With imperative programming, you have the same kind of thing. You have a set of tools, and you can, by using them to do things exactly in the order you need, you can end up with any result you really want. So it's not like, you know, you need to have the right recipe. It's a little deceptive here because this is a recipe. It's kind of funny if you read it, but cooking, you can do whatever you want. You can go off the recipe. Once you know how the tools work and how they interact, you can use them to get whatever result you want. This is unlike declarative because, you know, with HTML, with the spell book, you can't make you need to use the kind of like the spells, the things that have already been provided for you. Now, the flip side is that it's slower. It's more work. There's more involved to get the same kind of result. If you wanted to get the same interaction with like a form input, you need to do more if you're doing it in an imperative style. The bottom line is basically declarative will get you a result right away. It'll get you a functional thing just by declaring you want it to exist. Imperative programming, though, it's more flexible. These are tools that you can use to and combine in a way that is going to give you a lot more flexibility. I got an echo. Thank you. A lot more flexibility, but it's going to be more work to do each thing. And both of these obviously are, not obviously, but sorry, both of these are unfair generalizations, not always completely true, but in general, that's how you would want to think about it. And don't worry if you can't picture what this looks like yet, because we haven't even started doing it. I'm just trying to set up how this is different from what you've learned before. It's going to be more programming to get the same kind of complexity of a program, but you're going to have way more options of things that you can do. So hopefully that makes sense. Yes. Okay. So for the activity for today, let's do some math problems from algebra class. Is everyone super excited to do algebra problems, math problems? No? Nobody? Okay, how about this? How about this? Let's not do the math problems ourselves. Well, I'll do one to demonstrate it. I just want to show you like what that is. And just, you can zone out if you want, but please don't leave the class. And then let's just make the computer do the problems for us by writing JavaScript. And we won't even really have to think about algebra stuff. As long as we can model the problem in the computer, we just make the computer do the work for us. So does that sound like fun? Hopefully kind of fun. This is a, you know, if just bear with me for the first part here. Okay, let's see. Just, yeah, give me like 10 minutes just to show you what I'm talking about. I got this marker board. I'm gonna, wait a minute. Okay, here we go. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, or my face, right? You can
Yep.
see.
Yeah, we can see you.
Cool. Let me unpack this thing. And okay, so I have, yeah, it's like that kind of stuff, Carolyn. It's gonna be, you're not gonna like this, but just bear with me. This is just for fun, okay? I'm just showing you how you would do an algebra problem. You don't have to figure out how algebra works right now. Don't worry about it. And I had to look this up. I have a cheat sheet here that I made, so that I'm just gonna write this down. So here's the problem. And we'll do this in GitHub. It's in the GitHub classroom right now. So I'm not sure if we should have everybody get it from there, or I'll just read it out loud, and let's do it the algebra way. And then let's go to the GitHub classroom and I'll show you the JavaScript way that's hopefully more fun. So the problem is there are 2,200 guests at a fair, at a state fair or something like that. And when a child's admission price is $1.50, $1.50 for a child, and $4 for an adult. And on a certain day, they have 2,200 people. Hang on, let me get the, sorry. Let me get this thing, let's shade down. Oh man. Okay. Is that better? Can you see this? Kind of, doesn't matter. Who cares? Like, just indulge me here. On a certain day, 2,200 people go to a fair and they collect $5,050 total, right? And the puzzle is how many children and how many adults added up or went there that day to make up those 2,200 people so that they earned $5,050. So to do this algebraically, I mean, you don't have to figure this out, but like
I threw the question in the Zoom chat, and I'll throw it in Slack.
okay, it's
The actual question.
It's in the GitHub README. I don't know if you found it there, but it's in the module 4 folder, the first folder that's in the module 4, the text of it. But you hopefully, yeah, you just wrote it down. Thank you. And we'll go look at that right after this. So to do this the algebra way, you're going to say, we need a system of equations. We know that, let's call the number of adults A, and let's call the number of children C. We need to find A and C based on this stuff, with all this stuff. So we're going to say, we know that A plus C has to be 2,200, because that's the total number of people. And we know that the total dollars collected was 5,050. And the way we represent this with an equation is by saying the price of an adult times the number of adults plus the price of a child times the number of a child is the total dollars. So this means 4, because we don't need the decimals for that. 4 times A plus 1.5 times C equals the dollars, $5,050. And then you solve, this is like a system of equations. I don't know if I had to look this up, by the way, but this is from algebra class. You have to solve one of these equations for the other variable and then plug the result of that into the other. So anyway, you subtract A from both sides here, which means you get C equals 2200 minus A. And then you can substitute that whole thing in for C here. And then your equation is all in terms of adults. And again, don't worry about it. Like, this is tedious, I know. 4 times A plus 1.5 times 2,200 minus A is 5,050. And then I'm looking at my cheat sheet. So you multiply, wait, oh no, I did this backwards from what I did. So now I have nothing to, what's 1.5 times 2,200? Oh, little fun thing about a Mac. If you do Command spacebar, you can just type math into there and it'll calculate it for you. So it's like quicker than opening the calculator. So this is 3,300. So 4A plus 3,300 minus 1.5A equals this. And then you do this one can minus from this one. So 2.5A plus 3,300 equals 50/50. And then you subtract this from this and you get whatever that is. Hang on. 50/50 minus 3,300. Oops. 1,000. Man, I'm doing this backwards from how I had it written here. And 2.5A equals 1,750, because that's 1,750. And then you divide that, divided by 2.5, divide that into that, and you get 700. A equals 700. And then because it's 2,200 total, you know that and 700 of those are adults, you know that the rest of them, 1,500, have to be children. Boom, done. Algebra. See, this is probably traumatizing for some people. Anyway, you get what you get the idea, right? That's how you would do it with the math class. Now, let's get our JavaScript going. and do it a more fun way. Hopefully a way that, again, don't worry about following it entirely. I'm just going to give you a taste of this is what you could do with a computer. Now, obviously, the right way is probably still the algebra way, but you can sort of cheat with the computer and just make it figure it out for you. So we're going to do that right now. To do this, we want to get our classroom code base loaded into Visual Studio Code. So that's the next thing we're going to do. And you need to get the latest from GitHub because this problem has been added to the module 4 folder. So here is, I'm going to share screen again.
So you guys are just going to pull your code base. You're going to pull into the code base folder for careers and code, not your own folder. So you can get the updated
Oh, so
module 4
we
folder.
have our own folder copies and we have the one that's the shared one too.
So they pull a code base. They have a folder that says careers and code base, and that's all of like what the instructors put in there.
Okay.
So if they pull that, it'll update their folder that they have. And then they have a separate folder that is just their own code that they're working on.
Okay. So if you want to work on this and you don't want it to be checked into GitHub, because everybody can't check in their own code into GitHub, right? So
they can't push anything to the instructor.
Okay, that's fine then. So just pull the instructor thing, pull the careers in code classroom code base.
Yes.
Repository, the latest from that. You should have, if you look in that folder, you should have now in the module 4 folder, I've made a new folder called W6D1, which is week 6, day 1. And this is a math problem. We're going to do some math problems. So how do I know that everybody is ready?
Okay, so because I actually pulled the code base folder the other day so I could keep up with everything.
Okay.
If they open.
I'm going to get my other laptop so I can use that as a cheat sheet. Because I want this to look like I know what I'm doing, but I need to read off of another thing while I'm talking.
So question, do you want us to pull the module 4 folder? Not go higher and not go deeper?
Right.
Thank you.
It's really whatever you want, but yeah, that's what I would probably do is copy the module 4 folder. The thing is, I wonder if I should have put all the problems in here so you only have to pull it once. Because I was thinking, well, I'll just check it in every day, but then you're gonna have to pull it every day. Is that okay? Or do you want me to like just finish the rest of the problems next time so you only have to pull it one more time?
So for tonight, we'll just pull under module 4, we'll just pull week 6, day 2 then, day 1.
Day 1. Yeah, I would honestly
Yeah.
just copy this
Okay.
folder right out of it. Yeah, just this
All
week
right.
6, day 1 folder, copy it wherever you want, and then open that folder in VS Code. And I'll do the same thing so it looks the same here. I'll open this folder itself. Open new window. Oh, open. And I'm just gonna cheat and use the one that already exists because I can, yeah. Actually, I'll do the full thing so that everybody can follow this. Okay. So I cloned this into my documents, my GitHub here, careers in code, cohort 2, module 4, and this is the math problem. So I'm just going to drag this to my desktop. Is that what a lot of people do, is drag it over to your desktop? Okay. Well,
So in my Finder, Gus, I
Yeah.
have all the, module 4, 5, 6, but there, when I click on module 4, nothing shows up.
so you're probably in the folder that is
Same.
not synced to GitHub that you didn't pull into, right? Because
Yeah, I was just looking in my Finder on my computer, but the updates wouldn't be there yet, correct?
Yeah, you need to go to GitHub.
Oh, okay.
Whoops, this is now saying I deleted these files because of the, hold on. Discard. Give me the files back, please. Yeah, you need to go to your GitHub, wherever you should see Careers in Code Classroom Codebase repository if you set this up before. And you should probably see this say pull if you haven't pulled the latest with like a down arrow here.
Yeah, I just got to get out of my space and go into Classroom Code.
Okay.
How did I get?
Yeah, you can do it from VS Code too. I know, like Susan said, she did it. And actually, that's how I just pulled your code too. I just went into the module 4 folder and then pulled while I was in VS Code.
I think it's fine to make sure everybody's, got the latest. We can do a breakout room and we can just hang out for a bit today because we're not in a great rush today. And I don't want the pace to be a lot. So I just want to make sure everybody is able to follow along and try some coding if you want. You can give up and just watch, anytime you want, but I want to make sure everyone has. So is anyone else having trouble getting this new W6D1 folder opened in Visual Studio?
I had that. Okay. All right. So let's try again.
I would like to go for a breakout room if it's available.
Visual Studio.
Okay.
File, open, right?
Yep. So open and
But then it takes me to my Finder on my computer.
Yeah, it's really where you put it on your computer. So I copied the folder to my desktop, and so now I can go to open this folder on my desktop.
But there's nothing in module 4.
Does anybody else not have anything in module 4? You need to pull from GitHub here, and it needs to be, you need to be looking at the same folder that you have your GitHub linked to.
Okay.
My GitHub's linked to my personal CIC, my code.
Okay, so Tina and Dominic.
Yeah, I was going to say, first.
Hacked up state. Let's see.
Do you mind if I share, Gus? Maybe I can walk them through how I did it.
Please do. Please do.
Okay. You want to stop your
Yes.
screen sharing? Okay. So.
Again, don't stress out about this today. We're just kind of having fun. I'm trying to give you a sense of a more fun way to do this than the algebra. And it's only going to be fun if nobody is frustrated by VS Code and all the problems.
Can you guys see my VS Code?
Yep. Yes.
I don't know if I can. Let me see if I can.
There. Nope.
How about now?
I can see VS Code.
Oh,
Yeah.
there we go.
You can see it?
I have
Okay.
Zoom open.
Okay. So you're going to open a folder, right?
I'm so
In VS
sorry. I'm having a hard time hearing you. There's somebody who probably doesn't realize that they're unmuted, and I'm hearing a lot of other stuff. Okay, there you go.
Good. Okay. So you're going to open a folder in VS Code, and you're going to go to your desktop where your CIC is, right? You guys are going to click on your CIC folder, and you're going to click on your code base folder, and you're going to click on Cohort 2. And you're going to see all your module folders, right? Let me know when everybody's at that point, please. I can't see all of you guys, so you either throw it in chat or speak up or something.
Yeah, I'm able to access it, but I don't have a code base folder.
You probably have to create one then, Jahil, in order to get all of, because you should have all of these modules, so you have all the code for
Yeah, I have
all the
all,
modules.
yeah, I have all the modules. I have like module 6. I just pasted like the JS or whatever, but I guess I don't have the code base folder. I'm able to go to cohort 1 and 2.
Okay, that's fine. As long as so go into cohort 2, and then you'll see all of your module folders.
Hey,
Once you, sorry.
well, so I've got an idea for today. It doesn't really matter. We're going to be starting from zero code and just writing some code. So it really doesn't matter whether you have the right folder. What I can do is just send a link to the file itself that we're looking at on GitHub, the website. You don't need to worry about this for today. Maybe we'll come back to this. I really don't want this to be like a tedious day, because it's supposed to be like motivational and more fun. So like, Karen, if that's okay, like, let's just start a brand new file. It doesn't matter where it is at all. And I'll send you the finished code, which you can click a link right to and go to on GitHub. And you can do the same for the homework. You can put, it's just a single file, and we don't need to worry about this. Let's worry about this tomorrow. How about?
Yeah, or and I can always help anybody, you know, tomorrow before class if they want to go through this and get it done. I can show them that too.
Yeah, or we can stay after for anybody who's having trouble cloning. We can stay. You know, we can probably end by 8 today, and then stay the last half hour for anyone who has trouble. Or we can do anything that. But I really just want this to be more fun and for today. So
for today, I have all the files on my computer. This is Alina, by the way.
Yeah.
Do you want us to create a new file today?
Yeah, it's a brand new file. It doesn't matter where you create it.
Okay.
It's
No, I
going
was just
to-
wondering because I do have like all the code base files and everything on my computer. I was able to
Yeah,
pull
so
it from
if-
GitHub.
If you can get the file, then you're going to want to go into the W6D1 math problem folder and go to problem1 before.js. And it's just an empty file, so it doesn't matter. We're not starting with anything today.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
It's
why I'm
just an empty file.
Yeah, let's just forget about this. Everybody just make an empty file. I'll do that right now. That's all we need right now. And if you're in the folder, that's fine too. Okay. Okay. So I'm just going to close this. I'm going to say code.
I'm sorry,
New
guys,
file.
what kind of file? Not .html, right? It'll be .js something?
It'll be .js, and you can name it wherever you want, whatever you want, but
Okay.
put it somewhere where you remember. So I'm going to do, everyone can see my screen, right? Yes.
Yeah, we can see it.
I'm going to do in Visual Studio Code. It doesn't matter if there's a window already. I'm going to do file, new file. And then immediately I'm going to do Command S, just so I know where it goes. And so VS Code knows that this is a JavaScript file. So I'm going to say where desktop, put it right on the desktop. And you can name it whatever you want, but it should end with .js. So I'm going to say math problem, math-problem .js. Actually, no. Yeah, I'll do math problem.js. It'll go on the desktop. I don't know what that is. I'm going to leave that alone. But it's got to end in .js. That's the important part. Okay. Click OK for that if that comes up, I guess. And I'm going to put in one line of code. And if we can get this all running for everybody, we'll take a break after this and we'll do the full problem. I'm going to say console.log, open parentheses, and say 1 + 1. That's it. Over here, I'm going to put a semicolon at the very end. This is JavaScript. It's what it looks like. Don't worry about what the things are yet. And I'm going to save this. Command S will save it. And if I go to terminal, new terminal, this is something we haven't done yet. So VS Code has a menu here that says terminal. You click on this, you say new terminal. And I'm not sure, did you learn about terminal navigation, anything like this yet? If not, you're just going to do what I do. If you put this file on the desktop like I did, you're going to say CD D desktop. Just like that.
What if we're in the folder that you gave us?
In that case, I'll do it the other way too. So if you're in the other folder, pause everybody else, please. If you're in the code base folder and you have the latest files, you actually have a little easier. You can control click on this W6D1 right here, control click, and you can say open in integrated terminal. And you don't need to do CD anything. It'll just open and you'll be ready to go. See, you're in that right folder already.
That's handy. Okay, thank you.
Yep. So I'm going to copy the same code into both places just so we can show you here. But if you do this on the desktop with a brand new file, you're going to see something like this. You want to see this little squiggle here. That means you're in your home folder, and you want to type CD desktop with a capital D and nothing, with a space in between, nothing else, and then hit enter. And this should change. The end of this should change to say desktop. This means you're on your desktop now in your terminal, and you can interact with your code file that's on the desktop. So does everybody see desktop here? Okay.
For some reason, my terminal won't open within VS Code. It's grayed out, but can I just open like the regular terminal on the MacBook? That's what I did, and I'm at my desktop.
Yeah, if you're okay with it looking different than the examples, and yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't want to hold up class. I don't know why it's not letting me do a new terminal, but okay, thanks.
This is Latonia. I just want to double check. Our goal is just to be in the folder where we saved our file, not necessarily on the desktop where you put yours, right?
It's wherever you put it.
Okay,
Did you learn about CD and any of this navigation before?
Yes, we've done that.
Okay. So navigating to that folder, in this case, because I put it on the desktop, it's just CD desktop. Capital D is important. That's very important. And I heard everybody's supposed to have installed Node already. Is that true?
I don't remember if we did that.
Did you?
We did Brew.
You did Brew. Okay.
I thought that we did do
Yep.
Node with Max the first time that we downloaded everything to our computer.
Yep, it's in there.
Okay, and everybody should have Brew, right?
Yes.
Okay, so if
Yes,
you
we
don't
have
have Node,
Brew.
if you type Node and it doesn't show you this thing, then you're going to want to install it, and that'll be very easy. I'll show you. But Node is a JavaScript runtime. It's a program that will process your JavaScript programs and then give you output from them. And you can put 1+1 directly into here if you want. Don't worry about it. To quit Node, this little angle thing here means that you are running in a JavaScript environment. And to get back to where you were, you're going to want to do Control-C, and it'll say press it again. So you got to press it twice. Control-C, and then you'll see it go back to desktop or wherever you were outside of Node. You didn't have to do any of this. But if this works, if you see this, you're all set to go with Node. If you don't see that, if you see an error instead, you're going to want to type brew install Node. And that, assuming you have Homebrew, you probably should have done this already if you were at the previous class, but if you don't have Node, this will help you install that, and then the next time you run it, it will work. In my case, it's just going to say you already have it, and it's probably fine. Updated formulae, okay. Okay, it's already installed and up to date. That's what I expected. Now, if you don't have it already, it's going to print out a whole bunch of stuff, and then eventually you will have Node. If it errors and says, what is it going to say? If it says command not found Brew, then you don't have Brew, and you got to come to office hours or reach out, because that's going to take a little while. So hopefully everybody has Node. And can do, for example, now that I'm on my desktop and my file is saved also on my desktop, I can type Node, and instead of just by itself, I'll do a space after it and type math-problem.js. So I'm saying, instead of giving me an interactive node where I type the things I want JavaScript to execute one at a time, I'm telling it, run this entire file, run this entire program, which right now is only one thing. And what this does is says, print this, the result of these to the console. Don't worry about that quite yet, but I type node mathproblem.js. And because I said print the thing, it's going to print the thing. And in this case, it's 2 because it's 1+1. And it just works because I did the right JavaScript, because I already know how to do it. Don't worry if you don't know why any of this is working. We're going to go into detail about this. But has anybody gotten the same result to happen so far? Anybody?
We're all replying in the chat, but yes, we did. We're on track with you.
Susan said yes. Shah said yes. Latonia's yes. Dominique's got it. Elle got it working.
Cool. Okay. Look, if you're getting lost here, let's just not stress about it. This is really just a fun exercise. I think, do people want to break here? Now that we're ready to go, I can change whatever I want in this file, save it, Command S, and then click down here and just push up on the arrow pad, and it will immediately finish the last thing you typed, and I can just hit enter again. And now it's 6 because I changed this. And if you can get that going, if you can get that response, that means that now you can edit your file and you can execute your file in your programming. That is JavaScript. And this down here is running your JavaScript. It's the most bare bones version. And like I said, this is all we're going to see for a while. We're just going to see text on a screen. And it's going to be eventually looped back into the browser and used in the browser. But this is really the most basic version of JavaScript by itself. That's all it is.
Hey, Gus, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
So I was following along with you and I changed my second one to 5 and Command S to save it. And then I went to the terminal and I pressed the up arrow,
Yeah.
but it's not doing 6, it's doing the 1+1 still.
Do you have a, oh, this thing keeps covering my screen. Come on. Do you have a little X up next to math problem at the top here, or do you have a circle?
There's an X.
Okay, and it says 1+5.
Yeah, I just changed this 1+5. It was working when it was 1+1, and I just wanted to follow along with you, so I changed it to 1+5, and I did Command S and everything.
So you have 1+5 here. You've done Command S. This is an X right here.
Yep.
And then you click down here.
Mm-hmm.
And this.
And then it replayed the 1+1 = 2.
And you see 2 here.
Yeah. Like if I do it again, like it'll do the 1+1 = 2 again.
And you, as many times as you do it, you'll just see 2, 2, 2.
Yes, but even in the code, it still says 1+5.
Yeah. And you're sure this is the same as this?
Yeah. Because I opened it from the file that we had before.
Okay. Well, how about we do a break and let's investigate this if you've got the energy for it.
Sure.
Okay, let's come back in 5 minutes and we're going to do a math problem in here. We're going to do the same math problem in JavaScript in a much easier way where you don't even have to worry about all the algebra equations and stuff. We're just going to once you're comfortable with the JavaScript, which I know nobody is yet, but just indulge me for a little bit. It's going to be a lot easier to make the computer solve the problem for us. So that's what we're going to do in like 5-10 minutes. So I'll see you then. And sorry, who had the problem?
Oh, it was me, Alina. Hold on, I'll share my screen.
Okay. Thank you. I can stop. Yeah. And this is a good opportunity. If you want to reach out for help getting your file in the right place or getting the console working, let Karen know. But we should take a small break.
Okay.
Celebrate that we are all still here. We haven't given up yet.
So Gus, Shantina's problem is that her system doesn't recognize her desktop. And I believe that Ariel was having the same type of problem. Like they can't find the file on the desktop.
Okay, you might have answered when, okay. I think VS Code might ask for access to the desktop, and maybe the first time you set that up, you did not grant that. That's possible. Is there another folder you can put it in? And we might have to go one by one with these, and get everybody up to speed. And I don't want to do that here. I think we should do it maybe at 8 o'clock or before class, or at some point when you have time, like tomorrow. We really should make sure everybody has an environment that's working, because we're going to be doing this every day, basically, this kind of thing. So I think it's worth it, but I don't want to, it's going to take a while maybe to get everybody working. Alina, I already know what's wrong. You're still in the node environment. See how you have the little caret there?
Yes.
So when you hit up, you're doing your node statement. You should exit out of node first.
So Control D. Control D.
Control C. But see how you typed node again rather than node space problem one before. In your case, it has to be problem -1 before because you have a different file name. One more time.
Okay, Control C again.
Yep. Right. Okay. So now if you type node but space after it, not just hit enter. Yeah, and do problem. No, you hit enter.
All right, Control C again. Okay, sorry. I'm sorry.
Twice, yeah. So this is good though. Getting comfortable. If you accidentally do node and you get into this thing with the little caret, the little angle thing, you
Mhm.
hit Control C to get back to the thing with the percent thing. There's two different modes.
Okay, so we're gonna do node.
Space problem -1 before .js. It's the same as whatever's up at the top that you see as the file name. You need you need
All
before.
right, yeah.
Yeah. So you
Oh,
can
hold
hit
on.
up and then edit it if you want to do that.
Okay.
Never mind. Yeah, yeah, okay. Problem
Can I-
-1 before.
Okay, node problem. Oh my gosh, why is it lagging?
All right, you're good.
I don't know. It's lagging on my end. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen and I'll just I'll do it. It's problem -1
Yep,
dash.
before.
Why is my computer lagging so much? 1 second.
You might be running too many programs all at the same time. That's a possibility. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not really running anything. Well, I mean, besides like Zoom and VS Code,
You
I
have, like-
probably have a crap ton of a crap ton of files minimized.
Yeah, if you have like
I'm-
hundreds of VS Code windows open, that's going to slow down your computer for sure.
Yeah, they're. I'm sorry. They're.
But yeah, let me know. Hopefully you can get that to print out 6.
Okay, so it was problem -1 before.
Yep. And by the way, a cheat code, you can just do problem -1 B and then hit the tab key and it'll finish the whole thing for you because it's the only possible file that it could be.
Okay. Okay. Got it.
So cheat code for anyone here. I didn't want to confuse people too much, but we'll get to that later.
Hey, Gus.
Hey. What's
Where
up?
I'm in outer space.
Yeah.
Do you want me to share my screen?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So I'm in VS Code, obviously.
Yep.
And I just was doing some stuff in the console, but I wanted to show you again. And I just made a my module for it that's in my code so that it
Yeah.
won't interfere when we get the other stuff in there. So, where to
So
go?
here's
Terminal.
here. You don't need console or any of that actually. You can hit the X down and to the right, down there. And what you can do is just hold the control key and click on my module 4, the folder, and click on open in integrated terminal. And then if you do it from here, from inside of VS Code, you don't need to worry about which folder you're in or if you're in the right folder because you're using it will be the same folder.
So it's control
And click on the folder.
and click on folder. And then it opens it up in the,
Well, that will just show a menu. And then you want to click on the item that says
right.
open in integrated terminal.
Right.
Yeah.
I skipped that stuff because I knew, yeah. All right.
I-
So then,
Yeah. Just bear with me. I
Oh.
can't skip anything because it's like,
Oh.
I want to make sure everybody gets it. Yeah.
no, you're,
Um,
sorry. Shortcuts over here. I'll behave.
Okay. So if you type in that terminal node space math-problem .js, nothing happens because your file's empty. So if in your file you add to your file that you have open already, console.log,
Oh, that's where you put it.
yeah. And then an open parentheses, no space.
Oh,
I mean,
that's part of it too. Okay.
You could put a space if you want, but
Nope.
1 plus 1. Yeah, exactly. And then a
Semicolon.
semicolon is conventional. You don't need it necessarily, but it's conventional. And then you go click back to the terminal so that cursor fills in solid.
Here?
Yep. and then hit up. Oh, sorry, we missed a step. You have to click back to your code file, click into the code file. Just the top section. Yep. Click that and do Command S. So
Here?
see, no, the big window, just the big one. The big section. Just click there. Nope, the big section. Yeah, just click anywhere. Click. And then do Command S. And see how that circle at the top turned to an X? That means you're good. That means you saved the file. And now if you click back to your terminal and hit up and enter.
Together or separate?
First up and then enter. No, you held it too long. Now you have to hit it twice, real quick. 1, 2. Yeah, there you go. Boom, you got it. So now
I'm a PC person, so I'm getting good at.
You're not used to keyboard navigation, but now you can, as many times as you want, you can click in the top section, make your edits to the top section, do Command S so that the circle turns to the X, click in the bottom section, do up and enter, and you'll rerun it with the new code. So that's all we're going to be doing is just typing more stuff and hitting up and enter and running it.
Should I make sure, triple sure that I still have Brew in here?
It doesn't matter. If you ran Node and it didn't error, you're good. You got Node, you're ready. I don't know if you have Brew. We can figure that out later.
I'm sure I do, but
you
things
probably
get
do.
weird.
Yeah, you probably do.
Yeah, we did all that with Max, so.
Yeah, wouldn't worry about it. Okay.
All right.
Let's get back. Where's our folks ready to get started on the rest of this program?
Yeah, I need to run around the corner for a second and I will be back.
Okay. How's everyone else feeling?
I got a bunch that are sending me direct messages. Some are behind and would like a breakout room. Some are okay once they figure out they just used the wrong thing.
So if we get everybody typing this, it's gonna take too long today. So I think it's okay to just watch if you're stuck, and let's do this. Let's do this at the beginning of class, because the homework problem is going to be take what I make today and make a small change to it, and that's it. And then run it. And if you can't run it, that's okay. We'll get back to it in class tomorrow.
Yeah, so I guess my suggestion would be so they're just going to change what you just did, right? That's the homework?
No. I'm going to type more.
Okay.
I would suggest if you're not able to have it running right now, don't worry about it. This is not going to be needed. The homework is pretty easy. It's a very small change. Just a very small homework, and you don't need to run it. It doesn't need to be correct. Don't worry about it. We're just trying to get a little taste here, and we're going to go over this stuff much slower and more carefully. So really, just if you have it working and you want to try to type and follow along, that's fine. If you don't, just watch and enjoy. And the more important thing is to understand that instead of doing this algebra and having all these tricks where we do equations and we manipulate them, we're just going to very directly tell the computer to try every single possible answer until we find the right one. That's all we're going to do. And that's really all you need to take away from today, is that this is a thing you can do with the computer because they're fast and they can do math. And if you know how to do the programming language, which again will take a long time, this is an approach you could do to basically cheat at math class and not have to learn algebra. It's kind of a joke. So just enjoy. And if you want to try to follow along, let me know. Let me know if you have any if you get stuck. But let's not spend a ton of time on making sure everybody gets this, because we're not gonna need this code for anything, and you're not even gonna understand what the code is doing, half of it. So don't worry about it. It's just for fun. Does that sound okay to everybody? This is the first day. and I don't know if this was the right way to start, but I wanted to do something fun today just to get us started. And tomorrow we're going to go into a little more detail, and then we're going to start doing things that we're going to want to follow along with. But today, the rest of today is just to get a taste of what can we do with JavaScript. So I'm going to start going with this. Oh, am I sharing my screen with the same screen?
No, you need to share your screen.
Okay. It says I'm screen sharing. Is this true? Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
It would help if you could zoom in your VS Code window a little bit, though. The type is awful small.
Definitely. Thank you for the reminder. How was that?
It's good. Thanks.
Okay. So I'm back in my math problem file. And what we're going to do is, actually, I'm going to open one more file, which has the text of the math problem, just so I can refer to this. Open file. So this README, if you have the clone, if you have the latest version of the classroom code base, there's a README in here which has the problem. And we have two math problems to try. I don't know if we'll have time to get to both, but this is the one we just did on the marker board. The admission fee at a small fair is $1.50 for children and $4 for adults. On a day, 2,200 people enter and $5,050 is collected. You got to tell the number of children and number of adults. We already got the answer, but let's make the computer find it for us. So here's what we can do. I'm going to get my cheat sheet here so that I can keep talking and not have to think of two things at once. It's surprisingly hard to program while you're describing what you're doing. Okay. So in JavaScript, you can make variables. You can store data and give it a name. So there are two kinds of variables: constant variables and what's called a let variable, something that can change. Now in our problem, the price for children and the price for adults never changes. This is $1.50, 1.5, and 4. So what I'm going to do is say const. I will name these just so they're easier to understand. I'll say child price equals 1.5. And this is in dollar units. You don't want to put a dollar sign here because the computer's going to think that's something else. And a number is a number. We need to keep track of the units ourselves. So this is going to be in dollars. All prices are in dollars. Const adult price equals 4. You could do 4.00 if you want it to look like dollars, that's okay. But again, it's just a number. And the other thing we know about our problem is that the total amount collected is 5,050. So we're going to say const total earnings equals 5050. And really all we're doing here is this means they're never going to change. This const thing, we'll go into all of this, but this means that they're not going to change. They stay the same for the whole problem. But we're just giving names to these things. We're saying this number, we're going to call it total earnings, so that when we look at the logic of this and we try to model this inside the computer, it's easier to understand what is this? It's just a number here, but we have it a name. This gives it the meaning from our problem and makes it easier to think about. So now we have to figure out how many children and how many adults there are that make up that by using these prices will come up with this total. And we want the computer, I'm going to say, well, let's forget about how to do this with equations. I just want the computer to try every single possibility. And if it matches this total, then we got the answer. And we don't need to worry about how to do the equation, do the clever way with the math. So what I'm going to do is start by saying, well, let's say if there were all adults, let's try that. Okay, 2,200 is the total number, right? 2,200 total. So no matter what, it's always 2,200 total. So we'll say const adults, or sorry, we're going to try every combination. So we're going to try different numbers for adults. So we're going to make this one a let, because JavaScript will only let us modify this number if we declare it with this word. Don't worry about what all that means so far, but these have to stay the same for the whole program. These ones, we're going to try every different number of adults. So we'll start with 2,200 adults. And if there are 2,200 adults, there would have to be 0 children, right? Because the total has to be 2,200. So we'll start with 0 children. And basically now all we have to do is say, well, multiply this by the ticket prices and check if it matches. And if it doesn't, how about we'll try 2,199 adults, and let's try 1 child, see if that matches. If that doesn't match, let's try 2,198 adults, and so forth, all the way until we've tried every possible combination of adults and children, or until we match. If we match this number, we know we got the right number, so we can stop right there. So that's all we're going to tell the computer to do, and it'll do it, and it will take a tiny fraction of a second, because computers are incredibly fast. It will take much faster than you calculating the algebra problem with your brain, because people are slow at math. So the last thing I'm going to do is let's make a variable that's another kind. It's not a number. This is a true or false variable. This is just a 1 or a 0. You talk about computers have 1s and 0s. Well, that's a Boolean. That's a name of something that is a true or a false. It only has 2 possibilities. And we're going to call this one solved is false, because we haven't solved the problem yet. Once the problem is solved, we can change this to be true, and the problem is solved. Does this all make sense so far? Don't worry too much about the particular syntax. We haven't really gone over that yet, but logically, does it kind of make sense what I'm doing? I'm trying to describe this problem, take all of the things we know about the problem, and put them in a way that the computer will understand them. And then we can work with them and try every single possible answer.
Selena says it makes perfect sense.
Okay.
Carolyn says it makes sense to her.
Okay. Well,
And Corey says it makes sense.
if you're having trouble with any of this anywhere along the way, absolutely come to office hours.
Susan said that the last part is confusing to her.
You mean the true false part? Or the summary?
Yeah, the let solve equal false. Otherwise, I get it.
So, I mean, you could call this, is the problem solved? And there's no question marks allowed, but it could be a question basically.
But like, we haven't done it, so how do you know it's false?
Well, the problem is not solved.
Oh.
So if you ask the question, is the problem
So it's
solved?
just a yes, no.
Or actually, maybe it's better. Yeah, it's a yes, no. It's basically, it can only have 2 values. And traditionally, they're true and false. Traditionally, true is the same as 1, and false is the same as 0. But actually, maybe it's better to name this, it's more correct to name this problem is solved.
Okay.
So if I made a statement, like a logical statement, the problem is solved. Right now, that statement is false because the problem is not solved. So that's
Right.
all this means. We're just saying the problem is not solved.
Okay.
And we're going to change this to true when the problem is solved. That's all. So to tell the computer to go do something over and over, there are many ways we can do this. Loops. they're called. And I think the simplest loop is called a while loop. So this is gonna get a little more complicated here, but while, and then a parentheses. So you need to tell it some condition that it to check for over and over and loop while that condition is true. And here's a bit of syntax, which we'll get to later. If you do an exclamation point, that flips anything true to false and anything false to true. So in this case, it's a little weird, but we're gonna say, while this thing is called a not. So while not problem is solved, and then we need to give it a block of code to run over and over, a piece of code to run over and over while not problem is solved. And you can actually just rearrange the words and it makes logical sense. While the problem is not solved, you can throw the not somewhere else and usually it makes logical sense. So we have this true or false that's called problem is solved. And while the problem is not solved, we are going to run code, which you denote here by these curly braces. So that's a shift and then the square braces, which are below the minus and plus. So VS Code will automatically know, well, you're opening a brace, so I have to close it eventually. And it'll put your cursor in between them like this. So when I hit enter now, it will do all the right things. It'll keep this one up here. It'll throw this one down at the end. And then traditionally for a computer, you want to put something inside this block should all be bumped over a little bit of indent so that you can look at it and see what structures exist inside the code. So the inside of our loop here is going to be everything we want the computer to keep doing over and over and over while the problem is not solved. And there's a couple things we want the computer to do here. Number one, we want it to check whether this number of adults, the current number of adults and the current number of children times the prices is the same as the earnings. So we can do that by saying const. Now, because we're inside here, we can make a new thing that's constant for this block. That's fine. Don't worry about it. Well, you could make this a let just as easily. It doesn't really matter in this case, but I'm going to say const. We'll name this new number. We're going to make a new number to hold some of part of our calculation. And we're going to call this hypothetical earnings. So like, if this was the number of adults and this was the number of children, what's our hypothetical? What would we hypothetically earn in that case? So this is a bit of a mouthful. Hypothetical earnings equals. And to get this number, we take the number of children times the child price and add it to the number of adults times the adult price, and that's the total earnings. So that's as simple now. Now that we have all these numbers and we've given them names, these variables, we've given these things names, it's going to look like it kind of makes sense. Like what I just said to you, it's going to kind of look like that. So it's children times child price. And I wrap this whole thing in parentheses because I'd prefer not to think about the order of operations and all of that. I don't think you need to, but I just like do a parentheses just to be safe. Children times child price in parentheses plus another parentheses, adults times adult price. And that's exactly what I described as the formula for our earnings. It makes sense, right? You take the number of adults times the ticket price for each adult and the number of children times the ticket price for each child. And that's our hypothetical earnings. Hopefully you're all still with me.
Yes, Karen, it's always written in camel case.
Yeah, that's a convention in JavaScript. You capitalize the second word if there's more than one word, and you don't capitalize the first word. It's just tradition, basically. And now we're going to say, well, here's our hypothetical earnings if there were 2,200 adults and 0 children. All we need to do is check if that is this and try a new combination if not. That's it. So we need to say if, and this is another keyword that you tell the computer to check whether two things are well, whether one thing is true. And in this case, don't worry about all the syntax. We're going to get into this later. It will be hypothetical earnings equals, and there's 3 because who cares? Don't worry about it. Total earnings. We really are going to spend a lot of time on this, folks. I'm not just saying that. Like, do not worry that like this is all kind of brand new to you. We are going to spend plenty of time on all of these symbols. If the hypothetical earnings are the same as the total earnings, then we're done. So we can say that the problem is solved. In other words, we can say the value of our variable problem is solved is now true because problem is now solved. So you do exactly that. Problem is solved is true. Now, otherwise, we need to try a different combination. If they don't match, it's the wrong answer. So here's what we can do. We can just say, like I just said, let's try 2,199 and 1 child, and then 2,198 and 2 children. So what that means in terms of this loop, every time we go through the loop, we should be subtracting 1 adult and adding 1 child. And that will get us the behavior we want. As long as we always subtract from one and add to the other, there will always still be 2,200 total. So we're going to do exactly that. Adults equals adults plus, minus 1, because we start with the max adults. So we need to subtract 1 adult. Children equals children plus 1, and a semicolon. And then once the problem is solved, we've already said up here, only do this looping while the problem is not solved. So as soon as the problem is solved, we're going to go all the way to the bottom here and we'll be done. So at the very end now, we can just say we have the answer because we know that we must have exited out of this loop, because we know that the problem is now solved, because we know that it matches our answer. So at this point, adults and children have the right numbers stored in them. These variables are the right numbers. So we can just say console.log. You can do a string like this, adults. This is a single quote. It could be a double quote if you want. Comma, adults. And we'll console.log children. Whoops, colon inside here. Console.log children with the quote, comma, children. And if I save this and now run node math problem again, so up arrow and enter, we get our answer. Now, none of this has any resemblance to the algebra we did, right? We didn't do any, solve any equation really. We just told the computer literally, try every answer until you get the right answer. And then you're done looping and print it out. And you'll notice that it takes, you know, a quarter of a second or something like that, which is pretty cool. Now, I'm not claiming that this was easier than the algebra, okay? Like that was a bit of a joke. Like this was probably not easier to understand than even the algebra. But isn't it, it's cool that we can say, nope, I'm not gonna do the algebra. And nope, I'm not gonna sit there myself and do all the multiplication 1,000 times until I get the right answer. I'm gonna tell the computer to do it and then it will do it very fast. And that's really all I want you to take away from today, is that it is possible to make the computer do a great amount of work, which can be leveraged towards anything, towards making a web page, towards making a system that does accounting, towards making all kinds of stuff, a self-driving car. That's a lot more math than this, but you know, it can be leveraged to do anything because the computers are extremely fast at doing the math.
Riel has a question.
Yes.
I just wanted to know, so we need to, is it important that we capitalize the like adults and children, even though that's not how we saved the variable?
No, this is just formatting what you print. And in fact, you don't need to print that at all. It's just to help. So I could easily just delete this whole section here and have it be just console.log adults and console.log children. I probably should have done that. But if you save this, you'll still see the numbers. You just won't have a nicely formatted. So if I run this one, you have to look, oh wait, first I logged adults here and then I logged children. So that's the only reason for those. And they don't have to be anything. This could say food.
It's just display. It's just
Yeah.
for display. Okay.
So it's like giving it's a label.
Yeah.
Yeah. Latanya asked if it's a concatenated string.
That's exactly right. So console.log, it's actually a little different because the console thing accepts as much stuff as you want. I could put more stuff separated by commas, and it's going to print them in like its own little formatted thing. So it's not concatenated directly. If you wanted concatenated string, then don't worry about what this means either, anybody. But you can do a plus here instead of the comma. Now that truly is concatenating, and it's also turning this into a string silently, because remember, this is a number. This isn't even a string. So it's doing some magic there too. And it's not yellow because see, it's no longer a number. It's been turned into a string and concatenated. So if you didn't ask this question, just don't worry about what any of that means right now, because concatenation means sticking together a longer string, and we'll get into it later. Yeah, so the code base, what I'm going to do is the GitHub repository actually has the finished files that you can get by pulling, but what I'm also going to do is just paste them right into the Cohort 2 channel, so that you can link right to this finished file and see a finished version. You could copy it out of there into a JavaScript file if you want. But that in the Slack channel is the file we just made with some comments added to that just explain what some of the code is doing. So let me just make sure that works.
Carolyn wants to know who invented JavaScript and when.
JavaScript was invented in 1995-ish. Like, it was invented by somebody who worked at Netscape, Brendan Ike, who also made a bunch of other stuff. And he made a controversial donation to a political campaign and got fired from Mozilla and like a bunch of others. He's done a lot of stuff, but he's the person who basically was told by Netscape back in the 90s, we would like you to be able to, or we would like our browser to have a language so that people can change the forms and the buttons and the things that are on the page, and make them do things and be dynamic. And you have 10 days, by the way, go. So JavaScript was put together in like 2 weeks or less, just thrown together. And it's a pretty well, like this wasn't an amateur person. This was a person who knew how to do programming, but it was thrown together in a hurry to work in browsers. And all of this node stuff, all of this stuff we're looking at here is really not where JavaScript started. Where it started is in Netscape and Internet Explorer before any Chrome and anything was here. But you can still see it. The normal place you still see it is in the browser console. So if I go back to Chrome, whoops. Yeah, if I go back to Google Chrome and I close my presentation, or actually I don't need to close my presentation. You can do Control, click. Oh wait, no, that doesn't work here. You can do window, no, view, developer, yep. So view menu in Chrome. Does everybody have Chrome?
Yes.
Okay.
Bet.
You can
Dominique
do,
says yes.
on any web page, you can do this in Chrome. View, developer. Now that you're all developers, you can access the developer console menu and all of this stuff, and you go to JavaScript console. And so basically what's happening here is every single web page, if you're using Chrome, every single web page, and if you're using most browser, almost any browser, every single web page has its own JavaScript runtime, its own system that will run any JavaScript you want to run right in the, so I can do 1+1 here. And I can do console.log 1+1, which will do the same thing here, but it's because it prints out the results of expression. It's a little different than Node, but it's kind of like, see this thing, it's actually kind of like when you just type Node with nothing after it. You're basically in the same kind of environment. And in fact, it's the same engine. Node is the same engine as Google Chrome running your JavaScript, but it's been pulled out of the browser and now it's used for all kinds of other programming. So we're learning JavaScript in this class a lot because it started out as a browser language. It's been pulled out of the browser for like real, back-end server programming, all kinds of other stuff. MongoDB is basically written, I think, in JavaScript. Actually, I'm not sure. But it's all over the place now. It's ubiquitous, and it's used heavily for websites. So it's kind of evolved from a real quick kind of feature inside Netscape browser into the biggest programming language in the world, which is pretty crazy. But you can do the same thing here with const adults equals 5. And I can say adults equals adults plus 1, but it will yell at me because it's a const. It says you can't change a const. That's what they're for. They're not supposed to change. But if I do let children equals 5, and I do children equals children plus 1, then I can change that one. It's all the same kind of stuff. And I think, in fact, we might be able to just copy this whole thing into Chrome and it'll do it. So let's try this. Command C, go to Chrome, and it knows I pasted this multi-line, so there's our whole program. If I hit enter, oh no, I already did adults in the other thing, and now it's complaining because I tried to define it again. So here's what we'll do. We'll reload the whole page, which wipes out the whole thing, and we have a brand new JavaScript thing here, and we'll paste the whole thing into here, and we'll run it, and we got the same result. So it's the same language running in your browser. You could paste this into Safari has a console like this, Internet Explorer has a console like this, and it's all the same language, which must be a little confusing, right?
So
Carolyn wants to know if there's a head or other document type declaration in the JS file code.
No, it's really just what we said. There's really no fancy top section. There doesn't have to be a hash bang kind of thing, like in some, there's no special start to a JavaScript file at all. Now, if you get later into JavaScript modules, you might see eventually at the top, there'll be import something, React from React, something like that, which is another special kind of thing. But that's just, there's no thing that every file has to start with. This is just if you're importing modules, which is much later, much later. Yeah, there's nothing special at the top. There's really nothing special about the file at all, except it's good to have it end with .js, because then VS Code knows, hey, this is JavaScript, and it should try to make sure that you have it right. So for example, if I say if problem, well, not problem is solved, oh, it doesn't like, it's okay with that. Yeah. So I wasn't going to say this until later. I'm still not going to say it until later, but I would name this .ts because I like TypeScript better, but that means a bunch of setup, and it would catch this. It would tell you, hey, you spelled this wrong. And it's worth it, in my opinion, once you have a big enough program. But let's not get into that today. But for JavaScript, you want it to end with .js. And it will at least know if I do not p, it knows that there's stuff in here, and it's doing some understanding of my program. So VS Code knows that it's JavaScript. It puts the right colors on things so that you can tell stuff apart visually. And it even does know that problem is solved is an actual variable, and it even tells you that it's a Boolean. So it infers what's called the type of the variable. The exclamation point is an operator called the not operator, and it's a logical operator. So if I go, let's go back to the Chrome console and type some stuff into here. And you can do this again on any web page you want. This is basically should behave the same as when you type node on its own and run node. You'll get the same caret. You can type the same JavaScript. So if we do not true, that value is false because not true is false. Not false is true. Not 5 is false. This is where it gets weird because JavaScript is just like, I can treat 5 as a true false. And there's a whole bunch of weirdness with that. So yeah.
Corey has a question.
Okay.
Oh, I was trying to type it too. Okay. So in this example, it was great. I followed the mathematical logic, and then I got hung up on that at the Boolean part where it was like I followed the false one because the equation wasn't solved. But then the true one I got a little hung up on, the logic behind that one. But then can you take us to the big picture back to like Java? Is Java like is the purpose of Java to help the computer calculate formulas? Is it like turn the computer into a calculator, or does it do more than that?
It does a whole lot more than that, but it takes a lot more code than we see here to have it do much more than essentially just calculate numbers. We're only doing a math problem here because computers are so naturally good at doing math that it really doesn't take very much code to have it solve an understandable, pretty complicated math problem, right? Compared to the complexity of the problem, this isn't a ton of code. I mean, and it all is pretty easy to understand directly. So the only reason we're doing math right now is because it's an easier set of problems for computers to solve. They
Right.
can solve many other, you can say, I want to draw shapes on the screen, and you can describe those shapes with mathematical formulas, or I want to load images onto the screen, and you can describe every bit of data and every pixel and every single image that you want to do with numbers. And then you can, and it's fast enough where it can do all of that if you know how to do the right thing. So it's really a matter of scale more than, it's only this type of problem.
Mm-hmm. In my Capstone concept, I was trying, I was looking at the fractions and having the students scan in their homework so that the computer can recognize the characters to try to, guide them through the equation. So seems like JavaScript can help out with some of that.
Yeah, but that is a very hard problem to solve. That would be like if you wrote a program that could look at a picture of a printed out document and understand the characters. That's like a master's thesis level amount of work. That's a lot of work. You're gonna, that's more work than the whole capstone. Yeah.
Sure.
So I would say if you do want to do that, on the other hand, there are programs that will do that are already done. And you have the option to basically, what you'd probably want to do is you take the image you receive, you would send that image to a server somewhere on the internet and say, hey, here's some image data. I would like the text that is in this image. And then that server, somebody's already done that. All you do, you might pay like a tiny amount, or there might be a free tier where you get so many scans every month or something like that. But then the server would just send back to you the data, and you wouldn't want to worry about it at all. If you do want to do that as part of your capstone, it's totally possible, but you're going to want to send those images out to a server that a service that does that for you, and it'll send it back. And I can help you find one if you do want.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey Gus, can you go over the triple equals versus double equals?
Yeah. So actually, we could add this to the.
Sorry, because Mal asked the question, and what I told him was that triple equals is that they have to match exactly.
Yeah, and the types have to match. So I don't know if I wanted to. Yeah. We're almost at the end of time. This week I'll show you a fun video on double equals, but basically you pretty much always want to use 3 equals instead of 2, because if we go back to, Carolyn, you're right. Yes, it translates to while not problem is solved. And in that case, you can actually put the not in the middle, because problem is solved is semantically correct. So you can even say while problem is not solved, and that's still correct logically.
Oh, so the exclamation could go anywhere in those parentheses, except after solved.
No. I'm just saying logically. The code has to be this way. You have to put the exclamation before it. Yeah.
Right.
But this is just logically. Yeah. So let's go back to Chrome for a second. And we can do, like, for example, 0 double equals false. True. That's odd. The number 0 is double equal.
Double negative?
No, it's just because it's taking one side of this and saying, oh, these are not the same types. One is a number, one is a true false. I need to convert one into the type of the other. And because 0 by convention is the same as false, they're equal. And that's not what you want usually. So if you did 0 triple equals false, that's false. This whole statement is being checked for, is it true or false? When you do the equals, the result of that whole thing on both sides of the equals plus the equals, the result of that is going to be a true or a false. So no matter what it is. So 3 equals 4, false. A string equals the same string, true. String equals a different string, false. string equals a number, false, and so forth. It's always going to be false. Yeah. You could do not false. And you can combine them in tricky ways here. So like not false equals true. That's true because not false is true and true is true. So this stuff gets tricky. This is called Boolean logic. Once you're doing true falses and all that kind of stuff, there's a whole kind of field of math that's just called Boolean logic. It's combining Boolean algebra, all this, combining all these in complicated ways. But you don't usually need it to be that complicated when you're doing regular programming. If you name things well and you break things up into statements like we're doing, it's usually something like this, or you combine them with that. It's called an and. We'll get to all this stuff later, so don't worry about it right now. Anyway, I hope that was fun for everybody. I think we're at time, and we're right up to the, yeah. Good night, Shantia, and everyone. Thanks for sticking with me. I hope this was not frustrating. I hope this was fun, and I hope you are excited to get into this and to start really digging in.
Thank you, Gus. Wonderful. And Karen and everybody. I'll be back. I'll come back.
Cool. Thank you. Awesome. Come back.
I actually, my husband and son are computer scientists, and he was teaching me some stuff this past summer. Matthew was my son, and he was doing some JavaScript. I didn't go very far with it, but this is kind of familiar now. It's like, oh, that's what he was trying to get me to do. So, yeah.
Cool. Latanya, I forgot to mention the homework, and I have to upload it on Google Classroom, and I will do that right now. It is the same problem that we solved, but with different numbers. So instead of, it's in the Google Classroom. It'll be posted in like 2 minutes. So it's just different numbers, same problem. And spoiler alert, you can use most of the same code to solve it if you don't want to do the algebra. So you can just change the code a little and use it to solve it. And that's the homework. And don't worry about it if you don't get that working. So see you all tomorrow. All right. Karen, I guess you'll close the class, I guess, or I guess when we all leave, it ends. I don't know.
Yeah, well, if anybody has like questions, we hang out to get anything fixed, that type of thing. I know Corey had some questions.
Okay, I didn't want to keep people past, the official end. I know, like, usually it might be good to end a little earlier, like 8:15 or something. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, usually what ends up happening is, like when time comes, the instructor will say, if you don't have any questions or don't need any help, you're free to go. But if you have questions or would like some help, we're here, and we usually hang out for like a half an hour.
Cool. All right, so that applies right now. If anyone has questions, you're free to hang out. I'm gonna post the homework, and I gotta do some work on my next class. Because yeah, and I'm gonna try to get the whole week into GitHub, the code for it into GitHub before tomorrow, and we need to figure out the cloning GitHub and all that.
Yeah, that's where I got hung up. That's where I got hung up.
So if that's what you're stuck on right now, I can kind of go through what I was going to go through, and hopefully that'll help you grab the code for it.
You talking to me?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I'll take help. Do you want me to share my screen?
Nope. I'm going to share my screen so that you can follow along on how to pull that code from the GitHub.
Yes.
You have a folder that says CIC, right?
Yes.
Okay. So in your Visual Studio Code,
Let me go there and meet you. Cancel that. I was trying it, but okay. Let me just close it out. Close it out and start it over. Wait.
Oh. Where did that go? My window just got super tiny. That's not what I wanted. There we go. Okay, so you're going to open a folder, right?
Yep.
And you're going to go to desktop.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to go to your CIC folder. And you're going to open, so you'll double click on that and find your code base folder.
Yep, right there.
Double click on that.
Mm-hmm.
Go to the cohort 2.
Yep. Module.
Double click on that and you'll see all of your module folders.
Yep.
So double click on module 4. Now I already opened, because I already pulled it. I have the folder here.
Yep.
If
Mine
yours is empty. So just hit open.
Open. Okay. Okay. Let me move this down some. Hold on 1 second. The Zoom is in. Okay.
So all I did from there was I went to, so this is for Git, right? This little symbol right here. Can you see this little symbol on the left?
Your cursor.
Yep. So here's my cursor right here, the little hand on the left-hand side.
Okay, I see. I don't know if it's frozen or okay. I see
I
next
think
to
it's
visual.
frozen.
Of course, that always happens to me, right? So if you're looking at your VS Code, you have below the search icon, there's that little funny looking icon.
Oh yeah, the one that looks like a tree. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you click on that, there's not going to be anything there. Click on the 3 dots.
Click on the tree.
Yep.
And then it opens, says welcome, and then start.
Nope. It'll say source control. If you click on that tree, it'll say source
yeah.
control.
It pulled up the yes.
Yep.
The
Click on
column.
the 3 dots that are right there.
Mm-hmm.
And then go to pull.
Pull.
Yep. And when you pull that, if you then go to your folder on your desktop, I got to move you guys because I don't know. If you go to your folder that's on your desktop, your CIC folder,
Mm-hmm.
and if you open that,
go to back to module 4.
Yeah, open it up and go. You should
There it is.
then
Yeah.
you should have everything in module 4. You should have that folder.
Yep. Boom. Okay, so all I had to do is hit the tree and then pull. And see, that's the I always get like 90% there and then get hung up on navigating GitHub. Okay.
Right.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, they're all there now. Right.
Yep.
Okay.
So you're good to go?
Mm-hmm. Okay,
Okay.
so the homework we had to do was to, what was edit? I gotta
So,
go with Classroom.
Yeah, I just posted the homework in Google Classroom. Sorry, I'm like still getting that, back into the swing of this, but I just posted the assignment on Google Classroom. If you want to do it tonight, it's just a small twist on the same problem we solved with some different numbers. So if you want to try doing it either way, do it with the code or whatever, you can go ahead and do that. It's no big deal. Again, today was mostly, getting people into the spirit of it and trying it out,
Now, the file that I'm opening up is what again? Which one?
In your VS Code?
Yeah, in the VS Code, I have module 4, and then it says W6D1 math problem. I downloaded all the files.
It's problem 1 after, has the complete code in it. Now, problem 1 before was where we were going to type into if everybody had their GitHub all working. And I guess I was a little optimistic that everyone's GitHub is like the same. We gotta figure this out. Yeah.
So I double clicked it and then the code popped up there, but I was supposed to open it up in something else. I just double clicked it. That's wrong, I think. So I had to right.
So you want to open the whole folder. Do you want to share your screen?
Okay, yeah, I got a little. Share screen. Click. I'm live? Yep.
Yep.
Okay, so where was I? I was just in VS Code and I did all that. I went into Finder.
So
there it is.
yeah, so this we might want to change everybody's settings so that when you double click a JS file, it opens in VS Code. Do you want to do that? Do you want to do that right now, Corey, for your computer? Okay.
Yep.
So if you click Control key and click on that.
Control and then what?
And click on it.
Okay.
Go to Get Info there.
Yes, got it.
And then, okay. See Open With, there's a little caret near the, halfway down. Yeah. And then go to that and change it. Yeah, go to Visual Studio Code and then go to Change All, click Change All, just so that all JS files will open in Visual Studio Code. Yeah. So now I would still say you might want to open the folder in VS Code instead, but this will at least make it so that if you go to any of these in Finder, and if you double click that now, it should open in VS Code.
So
well, from here you do File Open at the top.
Oh.
And then you'd find that same folder that you just update. Yep. Yeah, that's fine. And then if you open that, it should have the files. Yep.
There we go. Okay.
So now if you could go right to problem one after, and you could copy that right into problem one before if you want. Copy all those contents.
Then put it in before.
Yeah. Yep. And if you save that, and then if you control click again on the W6D1 math problem folder over on the left itself. So hold control, click on that. Okay, well, all right. You can only do this. All right, close this window with the red thing. So do File Open again.
Am I still in? Yeah, I am still. No. Yeah, I am. File Open. Okay. And then open that.
Open Module 4 though. So go.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. Oh no, you're good. You're fine. Okay. Yeah, open Module 4. Yeah, Karen, I kind of wish we had agreed on the folder structure and the repo and everything before and had made it just flat. It should have been just week 1, day 1, week 2, day 2. That's it. No, none of this nested folder nonsense.
That was a kind of, I don't think anybody had any way it was, I mean, they didn't have to do it this way, I don't think.
Yeah.
But it was, eventually that's what it was. Break it down by each module, and then the question, what some of the students asked, the question of, well, then how do we decipher that? So it was,
yeah,
that's how we ended up with all of this.
Yeah. Corey, so now if you control click on W6D1 math problem, I can't believe you can't do it to the top level. You can only do it one level in. But control click on that and do open an integrated terminal there. And now you can do node space. Now type P tab and do 1 dash B.
B as in boy.
Yep, B as in boy, tab. Boom. So you could type that all out if you wanted, but this completes
Oh,
it.
they'll give me shortcuts. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a trick to make it quicker. Now, if you hit enter, it should run what you just saved. There you go.
Oh.
So now your homework is
is
pretty easy because you just have to change the numbers. So it's a little
okay
for the how to solve the homework. Yeah.
So, and I do my homework in before or after?
It doesn't matter. It's just, I think you just upload whatever file you have into Google Classroom. I'm not totally sure. I don't like Google Classroom, but
So all I had to do is pop in different numbers for these and run it.
well, you didn't hear it from me.
I will read the instructions.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yep.
Fibia has a question.
Sure.
Hi, yes, I just wanted to know if I have my VS Code set up correctly and I can share my screen. Thank you.
Of course.
I think I can share my screen. Okay, can you see it?
Have a great night, all.
You too.
You too, Corey.
Go ahead, Corey.
Okay, this is the part that I got up to, got onto the new terminal, and you said to type in CD desktop.
So it depends on where you put where your file is. So this file is saved on your desktop, is that right?
Yeah, according to the path, that's what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry, I missed.
Oh, that's okay.
So yeah, you want to do CD and then capital D desktop.
Okay, where do I type that in at?
You
See where that little percent sign is in your terminal?
Oh, right here.
Yeah, and because it's filled in there, it's you're already selected there. So just type on the keyboard. Yeah, and you should see it show up there.
Just type anywhere.
Yep.
On this. Okay. Oops. It's not doing anything.
You might have to click on that area. Just click.
Okay, right there. Oh, okay.
Well, yeah, there you go. Now space and desktop. Yep. Now I noticed that your file has an extra dash in it, which is fine, but you're just gonna have to use the right name. So hit enter here.
Okay. Oops.
And now you're on your desktop and you can do node, N-O-D-E, space.
Oh, I was supposed to put a space there.
No, after
Oh.
node. It should be fine either way, but yeah.
Okay. Just node, N-O-D-E?
Yep, space after it, and then math dash, and you can just hit the tab key, it'll finish it for you because there's nothing else on your desktop that matches.
Okay.
So hit enter and you should see 2.
I see
There you go.
There you
Yeah.
go. So if
Okay.
you go to the file that has all the code in it, I posted a link in the Slack channel, and that should take you right to GitHub where you can see the code right away, no matter where you are.
Oh, okay. Do I access the file from the VS Code or do I just go directly to my desktop?
Well, I'm not sure if you have do you have your code base folder and can you pull the latest from GitHub in it?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, so what you can do is in GitHub Desktop, if you open that up,
Okay.
you want to change your repository to the classroom code base so that you can pull the latest.
Okay, and how do I do that?
See the top left that says current repository is my Capstone. I'm going to click on that.
Okay.
And the other one there is careers in code classroom code base, right? The first
Right.
one. And see the
Okay.
little down arrow tells you that there's new things that you can pull. That little down arrow icon tells you there's new code.
Okay, so just click on that.
Yeah, anywhere on that line you can click, yeah. And then
Okay.
the third button up at the top there, it says pull origin. And if you just click on that, that will actually grab the latest code from GitHub.
Okay.
Now, this thing, oh, I forgot about this shortcut. We should have just told people to use this from, you can say, open the repository in your external editor and open in Visual Studio Code right there.
Just open.
Yeah, and that
Yep.
will,
Click right here.
yep, that will jump right to a Visual Studio Code window. Oh, I can't believe I forgot to do.
Oh, okay.
And then there's your module 4 folder.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And now if you hold down the control key and click on that week 6 day 1 folder, W6D1.
And hold down control.
Yep, and click on that.
Oh, click on the folder album.
While you're holding down, yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
You can click open in integrated terminal.
There you go.
And now you can expand that folder out. So if you click the little arrow next to week 6 day 1, just so you can see the code that you want to run. The arrow there. Yeah.
Yep.
This one? Oh, okay.
And then if you double click problem 1 after, that has the final code. It actually has more than I got to in class. It has a nice handler to catch errors in case the problem is unsolvable, has no answer. It will actually nicely print that out rather than running forever, which is what I didn't even get to say, is that one we did in class, if there's no answer, it will run forever and you will never get an answer. So I think I'm going to start with that tomorrow when we do the activity. So
okay.
Now, if you double click the bar at the very top of this window, it will expand it to fill the whole screen, which will give you a little more room. Higher up, the little bar. Yeah.
Right there. Double click?
Yep.
Okay. Oh, okay.
And now, so there's the code here. And if you click down in the terminal again and you type, click there and type node space problem or P tab, you can hit tab anytime.
Oh, okay. Oops. No problem. And
no, you want to back up 1 because you typed an M accidentally. 1.
Problem 1.
-1.
-1. Okay.
-A.
Uppercase or lowercase?
The file has a lowercase, so this is just the same name as that file you have open in the file.
Okay.
Yeah. And then you don't have to type the rest of it. You can hit the tab key, and because there's nothing else that matches, it will finish it for you.
Got it.
So now you can hit enter, and it should run your the calculation and give you the answer. There you go.
Oh, there it is.
So now you can do the homework by putting the right numbers into there and letting the computer calculate it for you.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Of course. Yes, how many people are left to get GitHub working? Hopefully less than 10. But
I think
I am.
oh, hey, if you want to go, we're good. I mean, we gotta do this. So this is a good exercise. Let's do it.
Right. So I should just share with you.
yes,
Yeah.
Delia needs to stop sharing.
How do I
Billy-
unshare my screen? It's right up there. So I'll just click on stop share. Okay. Well, I got it now. Thank
There you go.
Okay. Have a good night.
You too. See you
You
tomorrow.
too.
See you tomorrow.
Okay, so my thing, I wasn't sure if I even had the code because when I open up the folder, I didn't see anything.
So I think the way I should tell everybody we should do this is always start from GitHub desktop.
Right,
Because
okay.
As long as you have that, then you can jump to Visual Studio from there. So you have the latest and you click open in Visual Studio, okay? And if you open module 4, you should have a folder in there, hopefully. Oh no. Can you go back to GitHub desktop?
Okay. Oh, I got this window.
Here's a cheat code. You can do Command Tab, and that's all you have to do to switch back to the last window. There you go.
All right. Write that down.
Now click Fetch Origin at the top. See if that does anything. To the right.
Let me just move this here down. Okay, so you said fetch origin here.
Yes. No, just click anywhere on top of Fetch Origin. Fetch Origin, the one to the, yeah. And do that Command Tab again and see if there's any new files.
You said Command
and Tab. And you can do this to switch back and forth between stuff. This is odd. Is this by any chance a fork of the, can you go back to do Command Tab one more time, switch back. Oh, this is a fork. You forked this repository. Oh man, did we do this again? We told all the students to fork the repository?
No, they shouldn't fork any of it. They should just have pulled it.
Okay, so Karen, go to the current repository in the top left of this window.
here.
Yeah, you made like your own copy of this on GitHub now, and it doesn't have the latest because now you have your own copy on GitHub. And that's what you're pulling from. You're pulling from a copy, which
Which is probably why a lot of my things aren't working, huh?
Yeah, that would make sense. Click that, try that. And yep, the one right below it is the one you want. Oh boy. So that, yeah. So the one below that one looks like the right one.
With the arrow.
Yep, with the arrow. The arrow means there's new things on the internet that you have to pull. And the dot means you have changes, so that might be fun, but click that. Okay, cool. Okay, I got it. So try pull origin again there. Aha. Do close here. Oh boy, the DS, oh boy. Oh, okay. You're good. You're good. You're gonna be fine. It's just I'm lamenting that more people might have had this problem. So you want to do control and click on that thing with the checkbox. See the blue checkbox? Either one of those. Click control and click
here.
Yep. And say discard changes. Man, this was easier when we were all in the same room. Has anyone said that yet?
Caitlin and I have already said that.
Yeah. Well, we just need to spend the time on it, I guess. Okay, now click pull origin. Now it should not complain. It should let you do that. And now close out the VS Code window that you already have open, just so it's not too confusing. Yeah. And now click open this one in VS Code. And this should be the right one. I really hope, hopefully. And you can collapse module 2 on the left there and module 3. Or open, yeah.
When you say, oh, okay, these little arrows here.
Yeah, those, but looks like you still have, what the heck? Oh, okay. Okay. Go back to GitHub desktop. We'll get this. Don't, if you got the time to do it, we're gonna get this tonight. So we're gonna.
Oh, I'm patient.
Okay. Okay.
I just don't want you to want to, I have to have a drink afterwards.
Oh, I've already been drinking a little whiskey, by the way. Too bad. This is teaching an adult class. That's what I'm allowed to do.
Yeah, I don't want you to need 2 beers instead of 1,
No, I'll be fine. I'll be fine. I'll be fine. Okay. So, yeah. Yeah, I don't like that little icon in the top left. It looks like a fork icon, and that's not what it looks like for me or for other people probably. See how next to current repository at the top left, there's that little fork thing? That's not good. That's not the right icon. So I would open this up, click that.
Here?
Yep. Anywhere on that, we'll do the same thing.
Oh, okay.
I would do this. Control click on either one of those. The careers in code classroom. Yeah. Remove. Let's just get rid of this. Remove. Oh, we should have done also move to the trash, but whatever. Control click on the other one. Remove that one. And you can check move to the trash if you want, but whatever. And then go to add up at the top left. And do clone repository. And so I think I don't know how we did this before, but do you mind if I send you a Slack link and then you can copy what's in the Slack link?
Yeah.
Okay. Here we go. This thing. Okay, that link I just sent you is what you want to copy.
Okay, let me see if I can get it here. Where's chat?
It's at the bottom of the screen.
Did you send it in? You sent it in chat?
I sent it in Slack.
Oh, okay. All right. My Slack is open. I can pop over there.
Okay. So there's the message from me.
Oh, okay. Direct message.
Yeah, no, click that again. Click that again. Direct message.
Yeah, got it.
And then Gus Cost, that's me. Yeah, click that. And do you know how to drag, you know how to highlight this thing and the very top part, just the top part. Slack is doing a bunch of nonsense to be helpful. In this case, it's not.
Here?
Yeah.
Just that.
Yeah, copy the link. Yep. And then go back to GitHub Desktop. And at the top, there's 3 options. Go to URL over at the top.
Okay. Let me just move this out the way so I don't hit the wrong thing.
Yeah, I can't see that. So it's like a ghost. I know what you're talking about.
Okay, so you said go to
URL, the one all the way to the right.
Okay. Click.
Yep.
It's a shame. I'm scared to click. Like, I don't want to click it to the wrong place.
The worst that can happen is, we gotta fix some stuff and it'll take some time, and you're gonna have to have patience for all of this. So just don't worry about it,
Yeah. I'm definitely seeing the patience is gonna come in handy.
Oh yeah, years and years. I mean, this is, you'll get some good skills in this class, but you don't, Karen, your learning is not over. You're gonna be working on this for a long time. Yeah.
All day, every day.
Yeah. So you want to paste this, which you can do with Command V.
Okay. Down here where it says local path, is that capstone in there also? Should that be there?
I don't know. I didn't set up the other stuff, but yeah, sure.
Oh, okay.
Oh, actually, no. Don't. But paste the thing in first. Paste what you have.
Okay. Right in here.
Yep. And then do choose above the choose button there. Yep. And instead of Capstone, you're going to want to click on desktop, and then CIC. And I think that's, there it is.
Right here.
Can you control click on that for me?
Control click.
And just say move to trash. That's an old one. I don't know what that is.
You want to move
Get
that?
rid of it. Yep.
Okay.
And now click CIC again, just to be sure. And click open at the bottom. Okay. Now do clone. And I think that's probably what you want. And this one had better work. This is gonna work. Okay, so same thing here. Click open in Visual Studio Code. And this time you should see the right thing.
Okay, I guess that was the first screen. Should I close it out and then do it?
This should be okay. Yeah. So now open Cohort 2 and Module 4. And yes, you got it. So there's the stuff. So now if you control click W6D1 math problem and do open an integrated terminal. Yes, you got it.
Okay.
So now you can expand W6D1 like we did with Corey. So click the arrow next to up back where you were. Yeah.
Up here?
No, the down arrow next to that. You were just over it. W6D1 math problem. On
okay. Here?
Left. Nope. Left.
That one?
Nope. Left.
All the way left or little left?
Left pane, the next one over. Yeah. up halfway up this one. W6D1, you're so close.
Oh, here.
Yeah, just click the arrow next to it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see it now. Oh, there you go, girl.
And now do double click problem 1 after there, just so you have it open so you can see that code. That's the finished version. We never even got that far in the class, but yeah.
Okay.
And now click back to the bottom here.
Down here.
Yep. And you're going to want to do node, the word node, type node, space, problem, or just P tab, and then 1-A, and another tab, and it'll finish it for you. And now hit enter.
Oh, magic.
Yep. And
Okay, I got some numbers.
yep. So now if you hit the up arrow and enter, you can run it over and over after you save the top file. So you can save changes and then click down at the bottom and hit up, enter, and rerun it as many times as you want.
Okay, so why do I want to quit? Why do I want to rerun it?
Because if you want to change anything in the top and see what those changes do when you run it again, you're going to be doing that kind of loop a lot when you're programming. You make a change, run it, make a change, run it, make a change, run it. That kind of.
So you're saying when I want to change it up top here.
Yeah, but you can also just rerun it. If you hit the up arrow key right now and then the enter, see, it'll show that it'll fill in the last thing you typed. So hit enter. So just hit enter. And you can do that as much as you want to run it over and over.
Okay.
You're running the same program again and again and again. But if you make a change, like put 50-55 up on line 4 instead of 50-50. And then save that. You got to remember to save it. When you see that dot up at the top.
Okay, so just like in with your HTML and all that, you have to remember when that dot is there, it needs saving.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. And now if you click at the bottom and hit up enter, up first and then enter.
Oh, okay. Up, enter.
See how the answer changed? Because now if you do a number 50-56, for example, it's going to say error, there is no solution, because there's no solution if it's 50-56.
Oh, yeah, because that's too much. The number is too much then,
yeah,
right?
Basically it has to be an even, it has to be an increment of 5 in this way the problem works, because there's no other way to make combinations of the $4 and the $1.50.
Okay.
That add up to, so it'll be any number that ends in 5 or 0 will work. But if you do 5056, it's going to say no answer because it will try
it off.
And none of them will work. Yeah. So yeah. And we'll revisit this a little tomorrow. I think we're going to come back to this problem, and then I want to do one more maybe that is illustrating, the limitations of computers a little. And then Wednesday, we're going to get into JavaScript, the real, here's what a variable is, here's what a number is. That's what I'm thinking. So.
Right. Okay. All right. So awesome. Thank you, guys.
Of course. Have a good evening. And Karen, I don't know if you got anything else for tonight. Otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow. You're muted. You've been saying stuff this whole time.
You're both Karen. I'm like, is he still talking to me?
No, Karen with the I. Yes.
All right. Yeah. Thanks, you guys, for all your help.
You're welcome.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay. Yep, I gotta get my slides for tomorrow. It's gonna be.
Yeah, they're all gone. So actually, let me stop this.
I'm glad we got through that whole problem. Actually, I probably should have done the break a little earlier, I think.